Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself.
If the rook goes to f7, then there is still
hours on g4. So after king to f6 and king to f2.
Tenemos el rey ahí n8 un poco mal, no podemos enrocar corto.
Y también se puede hacer, por ejemplo, alfil g4.
Защиту. Но пока что они этого не делают, играют ферзь d2, рокировка и теперь играют c4.
Thank you so much for the lessons.
Gracias por las clases.
Gracias por las clases.
Welcome everybody. We're very excited to welcome you to the fourth leg of Julius Baer Challengers Chess Tour. This is Ellen Frederica Nilssen. She's my co-host. Very excited to have her here, and I'm a Latvian Grandmaster Arturs Neiksans, and we'll be your host for today's Hou Yifan Chess Challenge.
It's going to be so much fun. Artur, I am above excited, but I think we should just quickly lay over, the ground rules for today, what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
We have, over these next 4 days, there will be in total 17 rounds. The time control is 10 plus 5. And since we're an uneven number of players, there will always be one player who has a bye. For today, we're going with 5 rounds. And I'm so excited. And I actually, before we begin, there's a little bit of time. And Arthur, I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite for this tournament, or who is your call to win?
Oh, I don't know. Definitely, I've been following all of them because I think this Julius Baer Challengers Chess Tour has managed to bring pretty much every single most talented young chess player in the world, starting with some big names like Vincent Kiemer. Then there's the youngest, currently the youngest Grandmaster in the world, Abhimanyu Mishra. And maybe I'm slightly rooting for Vincent. I've been following his progress for several tournaments this summer. I did commentary for Beal. He also played there. I was really excited by his shown maturity already. He's only, 16 years old, right? And then he almost won the European Individual Chess Championships. So he got the second place, if I remember correctly, by tiebreaks, losing only to Anton Demchenko, but he still got the silver. So definitely that's a name I'm totally looking towards to. But there's so many exciting young players here still, and all of them could win this tournament.
I think especially Vincent that you're naming, he's a big time favorite to win this tournament. He did so well at the European Championships. And he wasn't just lucky. I also looked at the games. He was just playing extremely well. So I definitely think that he's up there. He also won one of the previous challenges, the Kremnik challenge, if I'm not entirely mistaken. And so definitely him. We also have Pragnanana. It's very difficult not to say that he's not also one of the top favorites. I would go with one of them. They've also won each their event before. Prague, he won the first event, I think, the Polgar challenge. So they've also, tried it before. There's a lot of newcomers to this challenge here. And they might be a bit more nervous, not having tried the time control too much before. So I think definitely Vincent and Prague, they have great chances for qualifying for the Meltwaters Champions Chess Tour.
Yes, absolutely. And also at the same time, I think we have to mention that this, despite the fact that they're playing a round-robin rapid tournament of 10+5, this is also a team event. And not only they're fighting for very nice prizes overall, but the winner team is also going to visit the World Championship in Dubai, meaning Magnus Carlsen against Jan Nepomniachtchi. So I think that's a great prize for the youngest players.
I'm so jealous of that prize, I would love to go there. And if we take a look at the standings between Team Polgar and Team Kremnik, we can actually see that Team Polgar, they are around 26.5 points in front of Team Kremnik at this point. So really, Team Kremnik, they have a lot of catch up to do, and I'm not sure they will be able to do it. They have to win a lot of games this time.
Right, and the top 8 players of the overall standings, they're going to qualify for the knockout tournament organized in October, so everything is still as possible. The winner of the event gets 20 points, the next place has got less. Unfortunately, Sarin Nikal is not playing the event, so that means he's not gonna be able to qualify for the top 8, but I think among the top 10 everything is still possible. So it's not only Vincent Kiemer, I believe Noderbek Abdusatorov also has excellent chances to qualify. The same applies for Oldar Murzin, Avander Liang, and everybody else. So I'm absolutely thrilled to see what is gonna happen here. It's gonna be a clash. It's gonna be a huge clash. So I guess let's just wait and see.
Yeah, you also mentioned Abdusatorov, and I'm a bit sad to not see him play this event, because if he had played this, he would be my pick to win the entire thing. He's come so close in every single one of the challenges before, but just hasn't managed to win one of them. And I think that's a bit sad to see. He's a great talent, and I would really have loved to see him playing here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we have 5 games, and this current, the 4th leg of the Julius Baer Challengers Chess Tour is going to be played in the next 4 days. So today we have 5 rounds, then it continues tomorrow. Again, the start time is going to be 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Monday and Tuesday action resumes. Yeah, and then indeed the top 8 qualifies for the big grandiose knockout tournament in October. So I believe the games are about to start in some seconds, right? I believe. Yes,
and I have a key game that I really want us to take a look at, and that's the game between Zhu Jainer and Mishra, the world's youngest GM. I think it would be a lot of fun to start with his game. He is 12 years old. He is a grandmaster, a rating of 25-17, and he's playing this incredibly talented Chinese girl who actually herself has also been above 2,500. I think 2 years ago, she was I was playing the World Junior Championships in India, and she was there and she was playing with 2,500 rating. So she's incredibly strong. And this is a clash that I'm very much looking forward to.
Right. I'm slightly confused though. I think I see there's Li Tingji against Abhimanyu Mishra and Zhu Jianer against Aditya Mittal.
Oh, sorry.
Which game did you mean?
Sorry, no, I meant Tingji against Mishra. I didn't see correctly. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe there's a mix-up from my end, but I think Li Tingji is playing against Abhimanyu Mishra, so maybe we can follow this game.
Yeah, that was the game I wanted to follow. Zhu Jianer, she's playing Aditya Mittal. I think my eyes, they got a little bit confused there.
Right. Yeah, so indeed, it's quite amazing, right? How quickly the chess has developed in the past years. I still remember good old times when something like, 14, 15 years old, Grandmasters, that was pretty much the world record until Sergei Karyakin made it in age of 12 and what was it, something like 10 months. I mean, I'm telling this from the memory, so everybody was just flabbergasted. And nobody thought it's actually possible to beat this record. And there he goes. Abhimanyu Mishra beat the record this year. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, unbelievable. Grandmaster at age 12.
When did you become a Grandmaster?
29.
29.
Yeah, that was
you're saying it like it's late, and for me it just gives me hope that that I can still make it, so right. So I'm very, very happy to hear 29. And Abdu, as some people also, or Abhi as some people also call him, he was 12. I'm currently 20. I think I still have quite a few years, and I'm hearing in my ear right now that you might have beaten Tal's record for being the youngest Latvian champion. Is that true?
There's that. That was a long time ago, I believe, at age 16. Yeah, so I think I actually checked it. I broke his record by something like 1 month or 2 months. I already don't remember that, but yeah, of course, very happy, very happy to do that. Because I'm from Riga, and obviously Michael Tal he was my countryman, the magician from Riga. So all I can try to do is follow his steps and try to play 1 or 2 exciting games, really.
And we do have kickoff in the games, and they are moving very, very quickly with some theory here. Yep. In Tingshi against Api, we see a bishop e3 Najdorf, and with this h5 move, very modern way of playing against either we'll see an English attack or just a regular English. But this h5, very, very modern way of playing, also what Anish Giri himself recommends in his Najdorf course.
Yeah, so actually it's quite interesting how theory has been developing, because now you can play h5 and claim you have a great game, right? But I think the big idea here why Black has started to explore the ideas play h5, because this idea of white pushing g4, maybe g5, and then some sort of ideas of f4, f5, or maybe even h4, h5, etc., and bishop h3, they're sort of annoying. Right, so Black says, okay, I mean, I understand, right, that this is not really a great move in terms of the development, but it considerably slows down White's ideas to play g4, and something like h3 is going to be now met by h4. And Black just wants to play something like knight e7 and b5, b4, or just be very creative, and is asking White, what do you want to do here, right? And this is played at the top level, this h5 move.
Yeah, and you're mentioning this idea of g4 early in the Najdorf, and if people, they were following the Norway chess, that was actually how Sergei Karyakin, he played against Ali Reza. He played an early h3, g4, just trying to push his pawns on the king side. It didn't go his way though, because Ali Reza, he found a very nice way to maneuver against it. But very often these g4 ideas, they can be super annoying. So this h5 is a very practical way of playing. We see many more developments. There, a knight went to d5, it was exchanged, and now a pawn lands on c4. And I'm not a big Najdorf specialist, but as far as I know, this c4, it's played a lot when you castle kingside. So I think White is saying here, I'm not gonna castle queenside ever because then my king will be too weak. But c4 trying to protect the pawn on d5 and also eventually trying to push some more pawns on the queen side and get a little bit of an advantage there.
Right. I've played this line a bit from the whites and blacks perspective. As far as I know, one of the whites' typical ideas here at some point is to play knight a5. So knight a5, b4, rook c1, and try to push c5. So this is not really the only plan, because instead of c4, I believe quite popular idea is just to sacrifice a pawn on d5 and then just claim an easy game. But this is a very classical idea. So I wouldn't be surprised that knight a5 is next. So I think for black, he has to make a very big decision at some point, unless, of course, it's already big theory, something like a5, a4, and try to block the dark squares, right? So ideally, white is thinking about to play knight a5 and b4. Black is thinking about to control the dark squares, maybe play a5, a4, knight c5, trade the dark square bishops, and maybe later play a5. That's very complicated indeed.
Yeah, you know, he actually already has played a5 just to stop this idea of knight a5 landing on the board, which could be extremely annoying. So knight a5 is the pawn to a5 has landed on the board, rook d1, and short castles from up here. And then this knight on b3 at the moment is looking a little bit weird, but there are some quite cute knight maneuvers in these type of positions. If black at some point decides to push a4, you know, the knight could go to a1 and c2, a3, and then eventually land on b5, which has now been weakened since the pawn moved away from a6 to a5.
But you know, Ellen, I'm really impressed by how it looks. I mean, black plays h5, then he does a short cast. It just looks incredible, right? I mean, black is not concerned that the pawn stands on h5, because this is normally how the chess coaches, I'm a chess coach myself, normally we're teaching the kids, you don't play a move like h5, and then you never, ever are going to castle in that direction. But of course, here's some exceptions, because, I mean, this is how people play the Najdorf, apparently.
And it's not only the Najdorf. It's also the Caro-Kann these days. They play this e takes f6 and early h5.
Yeah, it's
so many openings where black just goes h5. Is it aggressive? Is it positional? You know, h5 is really a multi-purpose move these days.
Yeah, indeed. So everything could happen here. It's a very sharp game. What do you think?
Maybe taking we should... so much time here. I don't know. Like, he's already 4 minutes down on the clock compared to Jingxi. This looks like she has out-prepared him.
I guess. Yeah, but still, this is the first game. It's not so easy to get in the rhythm. Yeah. Okay, maybe what do you think? We should switch to another game, because...
Well, it seems Liang Wander against Vincent Keimer. There's some action going on there. Vincent, he might be in trouble already.
Oh, already?
One of our favorites to winning the event. Let's take a look at the opening.
This is the Caro-Kann. I know this line. Just to say, I recognize the position. This is the exchange Caro-Kann. I think so. I hope I did not make a huge blunder here by announcing it.
I think you're right.
I know this line. I know this line. Yep. This is what I recommend in one of my databases, actually.
Oh,
yeah. This is
for white or for black?
For white. For white. One of the ideas here, why very quickly I'll explain it, not to talk about details. Now, knight f6, c3, bishop g4. This is super modern stuff, right? Normally the idea for black is to play something like knight c6, knight f6, bishop goes out to e6, etc., right? But the early idea of bishop g4, queen b3, queen c7. This is a mix of two ideas. So black pushes the white queen to b3, but also doesn't allow white to play bishop f4. So, but it allows to play h3, g4. It looks awkward. it looks weird, right? But I always remember Vichy Anand's famous quote, right? He, I think, once said, I don't care if it looks weird. If it works, right? So it looks weird, but the white wins a pawn.
If
So
it works,
90
it works, you know? Maybe I wonder he should join the Pawn Grabbers Anonymous.
Yeah, it's a free pawn, right? But as far as I remember, white has a slight edge in this position. Long castle, I have no memory of this move, to be honest. But okay, I've been analyzing this position a long time ago. Queen takes on f7. I don't see, unfortunately, how quickly it was displayed.
You know, I can check this for you.
Okay, thank you.
Queen takes f7 was played in 30 seconds. You know, Vincent, he's giving away a few pawns, but this king in the center could be a little bit vulnerable. Though rook c1 is a threat here, it seems. Oh,
right.
It's ignored.
So queen c6. Yeah, queen c6 is played. Ah,
what happens if white goes rook c1, knight d3, king d2? Oh, some bishop b4 is coming. Ah, so you can't play
How
that.
do you see this so quick? Unbelievable. Let me just show it. I mean,
yeah, it's a nice line actually, because it doesn't stop after king d2.
This is amazing move. Bishop b4
yeah, bishop
check.
b4.
And the mate.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. This is incredible.
Mate on the board.
That's beautiful. And it also, you know, even if the mate wasn't there, you could still take the queen on f7.
Right. Yeah, indeed. So after queen c6, I don't know if this is still preparation. Probably it is, because you don't go randomly to such kind of position. And yeah.
He spent so much time though. He spent 4 minutes, and spending 4 minutes in a rap game just to recall preparation is that really how you want to do it?
I don't know. But if now rook c1 doesn't work, so again, after rook c1, is there any other choice? Knight a3, otherwise we just take it. King d2 has to be played. Bishop b4 check. You cannot take that mate in one.
c3, but then there's no longer, like, the knight is pinned and black can just take the rook on c1.
Right, yeah.
Also, knight e5 again.
Knight x on c1, there's knight e5. Yep.
Knight e5, knight f3 coming. Rook f8, all sorts of also the rook on h1 is currently hanging if it doesn't take back. So, you know, wow, I wonder, he just castled. Oh, this looks insane. Because the pawn on h3 is hanging now, but after rook takes h3, knight f4, oh, I shouldn't get mated on h1, so knight f4 wouldn't be so good. But then maybe there's
so many moves. I mean, I don't know.
d5?
D5, yeah. D5 is a move. Also, I think knight g3 is a possibility. Let's say something like knight g3, protect from the mate, and rook c1 is still a viable threat.
Yeah, that was also why I kind of like d5. Because after knight takes d5, then there would be rook c1, and queen takes d5, then the queens get traded, and white ends up with a better pawn structure.
Now after rook takes an h3, d5.
Yeah.
And if I take it, by the way, it's already material equality.
Yeah, and then I would say, like, a pawn on a7 might be hanging sometimes, if it's not a Fischer capture or something. I don't know.
Fischer capture, yeah. So you're referring to the famous Fischer pawn capture on h2 against Spassky, right? In the
World
Championship.
Of course.
First game, second game? I think it was the first game.
First game, yes.
First game, yeah. Queen d5, knight e5, take on a7, and unfortunately black plays b6, and something is going to happen there.
Yeah, I think that would not be very good.
Indeed. But something else has happened here, and instead
F3.
of f3 is played.
Wow.
So I think
rook
the idea
c1
is
is a
that
threat.
what keeps the pawn? What keeps the pawn and is not going to give it up just like that. And rook f3, of course, is impossible because the pawn on f3 is double protected. Rook c1 now is a threat. There might be some knight f4 ideas at some point. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, bishop c5. What is this? The point is that d takes c5, there's knight e5, and the pawn on f3 is hanging while the queen is attacked. Oh, this has to be some kind of preparation.
This is prep.
This is too sick.
No. This is definitely prep. You just don't play coolly, move like bishop c5 and claim that you've calculated all of the crazy lines in something like 20 seconds. Definitely, he's seen the line. Maybe I'm not saying it's exactly the same position. Maybe it's a very similar position in a very similar line. So that's got things. Okay, if in that line there's bishop c5, it's working. Probably also here, but probably he knows exactly this position.
You know, Vincent, he looks so calm. He really looks calm right now.
He always looks calm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this. This is incredible to me.
So what happens now if I take the bishop?
Yeah, so knight e5.
Something like queen f4, right?
Queen f4, knight takes f3. King f2, knight d3. King f2, knight d3.
Oh yeah, king f2, knight e3. King f2, knight e3. That's a
but
big check. But
if you take the knight, then rook takes.
Rook takes, and the white king is very much exposed. Like this looks dangerous.
Something on e3 hanging at some point. Yeah, queen g4 check, king b8, bishop b4, king a8.
But you know, I would be so scared to go to this line because I mean, white is white player. I mean, Amon de Liang, he's not born yesterday, naturally. Right? He knows how it works, and he knows that if his opponent plays it very quickly, now this is a preparation, and you're not playing against Winston Kimi, you're playing against Alpha Zero. Right? So are you gonna test Alpha Zero's preparation? Probably not.
Know, I wonder, he actually played against Andrei Yasipenko in the online Olympiad and beat him 2-0. So maybe I wonder, you know, he's feeling confident. He could feel very confident at this point, having beaten Yasipenko 2-0. So he might go for it if he feels like he's calculated it correctly. And if he thinks it's the correct move. Because the question is also, okay, if you don't take on c5, what do you play?
If I would be sitting here with white, now naturally I'm out of prep, right? I gotta feel I'm out prepared here. So I'm looking for some way to get out of this, some kind of a clarity. At the same time, something which might have not been prepared by my opponent, but gives me sort of some degree of control. D takes on c5, I'm still playing the preparation line. So I'm looking for the human move.
What is the human move? This position is insane.
Can I play king g2 here? I mean, it's very human because I'm attacking the rook.
But
I'm going
g2,
away. Yeah.
Can't I put a rook like rook d2 h8?
Yeah. Now my big idea here was to play rook h1. Maybe it's not such a great idea, but
can I do knight e5?
What?
Sorry, knight e5.
Unbelievable. Knight e5. That's even more crazy lines coming up.
Yeah. Knight d or knight e5.
Mean knight e5 or knight e5? I think both.
Well,
of them
I think both
crazy.
Look funny. So
both look funny, right? I mean, I don't know what to make of this. It's a mess. Something like this could be easily blundered at some point.
Yeah, of course.
Oh wow.
So and he's still thinking. He spent 4 minutes on this move already. And if he takes up more time, you know, I wonder he could get into trouble very quickly.
I would be panicking here probably if I was white.
I would have been panicking from 10 moves ago if I was white in this position.
Right. So I'm probably also
ever since that queen landed on c6,
Yeah, so I'm probably looking for some simpler ways, something like king g2 or rook c1, d takes on c5. I'm very scared.
Yeah, I would be too. Really.
Right.
Because it's not just a free piece.
Right. What do you think? We switch to another game, or we still stay here, because this is so exciting game, really. But of course, we don't want to miss some exciting action in another game, because there's parallel. So many games running at the background.
It seems that there is a game which could be about to finish, and that's the game Zhu Jiner against Aditya Mittal.
All right.
Or Jiner Zhu against Mittal Aditya. Sometimes I don't know which way to turn the names. But it seems that black has an incredible position here. The king is
something
extremely exposed. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how she's supposed to get out of this. Rook h1, and it's just checkmate. King takes h1, queen h7, king g1, queen h2, king f1, and then queen h1 mate. So it seems
a
like
level
it's
one
about
puzzle,
to
right?
be seems it's about to be game over, and she also has resigned.
Yep, she has resigned. This is a very standard, very typical mate to get the king to the h file with queen h7, queen h2. I definitely saw puzzles like that. So that's why we are solving puzzles.
Yes.
To recognize these positions. All right.
And I wonder he did make a move. He did not take the bishop on c5. Instead, he went queen f4, walking straight. Three kind of ideas. I don't know what the point of queen f4 is.
Which game again? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
It's a Wonder game again.
A Wonder. Okay, let's go back
Nilssen.
to Wonder's game.
Yeah.
Let me find it. So queen f4. Yeah, I think this is exactly the point which I was saying. So he is looking for something to surprise his opponent. Now, naturally, he's playing against engine preparation here. So he needs to surprise. He needs to step back. And queen 4 might just as well be something that Vincent might have not analyzed. Makes sense, by the way. Queen f4, not allowing the king go to b8.
For sure, but I mean, yeah, but what happens? Let's say knight d3, queen g4, and the rook goes to h8. Is white not extremely close to being checkmated?
Right.
I mean, threatening all sorts of stuff on h1 and h2.
Yeah, that looks very scary, actually. What do you do here?
I don't know. Like, if it takes on c5, then rook h1, king g2.
So again, knight e3.
Rook h2.
No. I mean, knight e3 right away. That makes
and
a lot
I don't
of
know if the queen can go other places.
Queen goes to g4 or e4?
Yeah, I was thinking g4, but maybe e4 to try to trade off the queens.
Yeah, but the bishop on e3, I think, drops. So queen takes,
yeah.
f takes, rook takes on e3. And yeah, thank you. Yep. It probably does work. So after queen f4, knight e3, queen e4, maybe not, queen g4, rook h8. So the threat is rook h1, rook h2 mate. That looks, to be honest, dare I say, lost, and knight e3 is played.
Knight d3 is played and queen g4 on the board.
Yep. And queen g4 is on the board. And also the same applies for rook d to h8, rook h1, rook h2. That's actually mate threat on the board. And I think that Liang is very close to lose this. I have the biggest respect for the black's attack. Well, what can I say? I wonder try to surprise his opponent by stepping aside from some complications and apparently chose the wrong path.
Yeah. Then as this game might be finishing off, should we try to switch to a game that we haven't looked at before?
Absolutely. I'll allow you to choose.
Can we go to Prague's game?
Prague's game, you got
It's an end game, but you know, Prague is always a nice player to watch. So
yep. It's
So this came from Najdorf as well. I can see out of the corner of my eye. The material count equal, but the pawn structure is very weird with the pawns on g5 and f4.
Yeah, and it's material equality, right? So I'm not sure what happened before, but after knight e5, knight c6 is a huge threat, plus knight x and f7 might be an issue. So Prague looks a bit in a danger. So at least was my first impression, but maybe not. Oh, wow, rook b5. That's a big move.
Rook.
Bishop e5, bishop
Okay.
e8, played very quickly.
Oh, and Prague doesn't have any time. He has 16 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, he's 16 seconds and he is down a pawn. So this position, I'm not sure if he's very happy about it. So something like, so knight x and d5 is a threat, right? But what if I play something like c4 here? So c4, try to protect my bishop on d5.
I probably have to take on Passan.
Yeah, takes, knight e5 and threat with some discovered checks. I don't know what they are, but
yeah, maybe. Can I avoid taking the bishop on d5? Try with some rook b2 and that variation instead, maybe.
yeah, but they already played something else. Bishop h5 is played. Rook d3, bishop takes, and f3 is played. So this is the current position. So I think Prague has simplified.
I like this trade. I like this trade a lot.
Yep.
Because now he has the option of trading the knight for the bishop or keeping the knight on the board. And with low time on the clock, you know, the knight can be so tricky. So I like this a lot from him.
Right. If the black knight is going to go to d7 to e5 and then maybe attack the pawn on f3, push g4, white's extra pawn at the queen side might not play any role whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, this is a position where I think also white could get in trouble very easily. There are some very weak dark squares and the knight can really show some power here. Yeah,
I'm definitely playing with black. I'm definitely, if I have to choose, naturally I'm a pawn grabber by default, right? I mean, I have the greatest respect for the beautiful knights on the center squares. So knight e5 is going to happen.
Yeah,
Prague is outplaying his opponent.
Yeah, I think from being a pawn down, after Prague lost that pawn, it seems like he's just been outplaying with this bishop takes f3. Very good understanding, I think he shows there. And now the king will be able to march in on the dark squares, and there's nothing the white bishop can do about it.
Just sit and watch, right? Just sit and watch how he's getting outplayed. The black king is going to get to d4, pretty much nullifying the white's extra pawn at the queen side. Chat says Twinson has won. By the way, I want to mention that me and Ellen, of course, we're monitoring the chat, but we might have some difficulties to reply immediately, right? But we have the chat window open. At least I see what you're saying there. So hello to everybody. Hope you're enjoying this. And our job is to make your experience as enjoyable as possible.
Yes, we are reading and we see what you're saying. So be careful. You know, we don't judge anyone, but we are watching. We are watching. And it seems that Vincent has won his game against a wonder, which is very good. And also Olivia Shielbasa, who is a newcomer to the tournament, Polish girl who got second place in the European Women's Championships.
Right.
A month ago. I was also there. She made an incredible performance, and right now it seems that she's outplaying Gunay Mamatsada, who's also at the tournament.
Yeah, maybe we should switch to that game, because here it appears that Prague is outplaying, showing some magic in the end game against Dagubati Balaji. Which game it was again, Vaishali?
Olivia Shielbasa against Gunay Mamatsada.
Okay. Just a second. Let me try to find it.
Yes.
Knight takes on g7. So prior to this, the knight was on e6. Knight takes on e6. Oh, wow. Check this out, Ellen. This tactics. I mean, you're going to love this. I mean, knight e6. The idea is that after f a6, queen e6, that's a check to the king. Queen takes on e4. Thank you for the extra pawn. And after queen f6, the tactics are not over. Another amazing shot. Knight takes on g7, and white collects the pawn on the bishop on e4, and is up something extra. Queen g6.
But queen g6, okay, and if white trades queens here and moves the knight,
I think I should be very happy, to trade queens, knight e8, and the d pawn should be stopped. Although there's going to be bishop c2, bishop b3. Not so easy.
But some bishop c2, bishop b3, then maybe white goes b4, b5. But they're playing so quickly now. They don't have any time.
Yeah, they don't have any time. This is not really such a simple position to play. Now, white is absolutely definitely winning. Yeah, 2 extra pawns, I think. Wait, how many pawns is it? Yep, 2 extra pawns. The pawn on d3 is not going.
And the pawn on a5 is also dropping now. Mamadzada had to play a4, just giving the pawn away. But, you know, now Olivia, she has a lot of passers, and it seems like she will get her first win in her first round of this Challengers Chess Tour.
Yeah, can you, Ellen, please remind me which color is representing which team? So there's 2 teams, the team Judith Polgar and team Vladimir Kramnik. I mixed it up.
Yeah, so the Kramnik team has the pink backgrounds, and the Polgar team, they have the blue backgrounds. So here, Olivia, she is team Kramnik, and Mamadzada, she is team Polgar.
Yeah, that's why it's made nicely so that everybody can remember. You don't have to look in the list which team is the particular player representing. So in the overall standings, Team Polgar is ahead. So they are clear favorites to qualify for this amazing trip to Dubai. But Team Kramnik is still fighting.
Yes. And it seems we only have 2 games left here of the first round. It's Mishra against Ting Shi, and it's Christopher Yu against Volodar Murtsin.
Mishra's game doesn't show to me anymore.
It just ended.
Yep. So maybe we can follow Murtsin's game against Christopher Wujinwu. So
Rook and game. We love these. So what do we think about this Rook and game? Black is a pawn up. An a pawn running fast. If rook a7 here, rook takes h4, rook takes a3, then there's rook h3 in the end, picking up the rook on a3. So is that a pawn just a fast runner here?
Yeah, so that's why, of course, the young Russian player, he didn't take it. He played after a3, he played king c2, threatened to play something like king b3 or rook a7. Now, this, I believe, is the current position. Now, the question is, can...
Wow, that pawn got to h7 quickly.
Yep. So it seems... Actually, I have a feeling this is a draw. I'm not sure what happened before because, rook games are extremely tricky. So
yeah,
if you want to escape, go to the rook games, right?
And now white is even getting the pawn on a3 sometimes, because how is black ever going to defend it?
Yep,
indeed. I don't see how.
So there's going to be a lot of check. I don't see black ever progressing. The pawn on h7 also is a threat. The pawn on a3 is going to be lost. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a draw.
So Volodar, he got away with one here. Or he might be getting away with one.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get away from this. Right. Is there something else, some other games which we might have to have a look at?
Well, we have a lot of results this round. It seems that out of the 8 games played, we actually have 5 wins for the black pieces. That's not every day that happens.
Yeah, this only shows that there's an amazing fighting spirit. Nobody has any respect for the white color. Black also plays sharp lines, plays for the win, like neither for the H5. And
this insane Caro-Kann game.
Yeah, this Caro-Kann. I mean,
Mm.
I'm just stunned, really. So maybe for me personally, the preparation would actually finish. I would just say that this is an excellent position for Winston. It only starts. Quite incredible.
You know, he is a student of Peter Lecco, so he, of course, he is extremely well prepared.
Yeah. Right. I'm looking at some other games. So this game is still ongoing, but yeah, the pawn on a3 is lost. I don't think there's anything ever gonna happen here.
We might even just see a trade of pawns with f1 equals queen, and then the white rook will take, and the black rook will, take the white pawn. I thought that was, it's a likely way of the game to end.
Yep.
I'd say.
Yep. Okay, yeah, rook, I guess rook g7, rook g3, trade, shake hands. There's a, by the way, question in the chat, dear commentators, did we have similar opportunities like this when we were young and coming stars like our players? No, they didn't play in such tournaments. I wish I would have.
Yeah, no, this is a great opportunity for the players. Not only do they get amazing prizes, but I think just this whole experience of working with all the great coaches and also playing each other, even if the time controls, they are shorter, you know, they're getting a lot of training games in against very, very strong players. And it's a great opportunity. They're learning so much, and I can only think that it will motivate them more to do better.
Right. And by the way, we probably have to mention is that both teams, Team Kramnik and Team Polgar, all of them got access to amazing chess coaches in between the tournaments, right? They were received group lessons by some legendary players like Boris Gelfand, Hou Yifan, Anna Muzichuk, Artur Kogan. Who else was there? I'm saying from memory.
I think Surya Ganguly also.
Yeah, Ganguly, of course. Yep, yep.
And
there
actually,
was one more final.
For all the premium members of Chess24 out there, you can actually check some of these lessons. They are out for you. I have watched one of them with Kogan myself, and I have to say that he is just so inspiring a person. It was a great lesson, and right. I can only recommend this.
Right, so yeah, they've been training in between the tournaments, and now they've got to show what they've learned. The first round is about to finish. Pretty sure there's not much happening here.
I think he's just playing here because he's upset. It seems, yeah, because he knows that he threw this game away. He knows also that it is a clear draw. And they have repeated, they've had this position for a long time now. So I think he's just trying to shake it off, even though, it might be better to try to get a little bit of a break. Be careful. There's f1 queen check threat right now.
By the way, fake queen, it's like a draw, right? No, it's not a draw. It's wait, wait, can I play this? Check, takes. It's still a draw.
Oh. Wow, that's an insane line.
Yeah.
And it actually happened on the board.
Oh, it actually happened. Oh,
yes.
They're playing my insane lines here. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I do believe we will see a draw very, very soon. I would be surprised if Christopher he kept on playing here. But from the camera, he seems like one who's upset. He knows that he blew this.
Right. Yeah, so every single round is going to start every 45 minutes. So this one started at exactly 0 hour, and the next one is going to be in 45. So maybe I can read out the results. So Ramesh Baba Pragananda, he beat Dagubati Balaji with the black color. Vaishali made a draw against Pavel Tetzlav. Ju Jiner with the white color lost in a spectacular fashion against Aditya Mittal, this Rook H1, Queen H7, Queen H2, Queen H1, which I call
Very
level
beautiful.
1 puzzle. Right? It's really, really a classic. Yali Sokolovsky, the Israeli young promising player, lost against Leon Mendonca. Li Tingji lost with the white color. A bit surprisingly, by the way, unfortunately, we didn't follow this game until then. Maybe we can very quickly, before the second round starts, check what actually happened there. She lost against Abhimanyu Mishra. Avonder Liang lost with white color against Winston Kiemer. He tried to step away from the opening preparation by the young German player, but apparently he made the wrong choice. Merzen against Christopher Yu made a draw. Olivia Kielbasa made she scored a very important victory against Gunay Mamadzada. And finally, Leia Garifulina was not playing this round because one player every single round receives a bye.
Yes.
All right, maybe let's go back to this game of where was it? While we still have a couple of minutes, Li Tingji against Abhimanyu Mishra.
Yeah, because we were looking at the opening, very, very exciting. And then there was so much happening in the Wonder and Vincent game that we didn't get back to this one.
Yeah, B6. Now that's tricky. So black is threatening to play knight c5, and naturally, if I'm playing with white, I'm thinking I should try to punish black for having you this pawn on h5, right? So, oh wow, knight a1.
This was the knight maneuver. Knight a1, knight c2, and then it can go to a3 and b5.
Yeah, that's like 4 tempi, right? But the knight stands beautifully on b5.
Yeah, it's great looking there.
And f4.
You always have to be careful when making this kind of f4 push.
Yeah, but I'm not visually impressed. I'm not sure if this is good, because again,
whom?
For white,
Mm-hmm.
For white, because there's so many weak dark squares, and if the bishop is gonna go out,
yeah, bishop f6, and then the bishop just seems like an absolute monster on those dark squares. And black doesn't have the exact same problems on the light squares that white has on the dark squares, it seems.
oh wow, bishop takes on g6. This is what we
is this?
missed. So it's some sort of a tactic. The queen is disconnected from the action.
But do you think this was some kind of desperation? Because how does
I'm
this
feeling
work?
it was a miscalculation, because she lost the game. I don't know really if this is attack is good. No, it's not good. It's not good. I think it was
No.
simply miscalculation.
Yeah.
So Li Tingji played queen h6. I'm sorry, yeah. Bishop takes on g6. That was a voluntarily sacrifice. Yeah, she sacrificed the piece. She thought, okay, there's this big attack, queen g6. Maybe there's some knight e4, knight e6, knight c6. I don't know. But rook f6.
And just holding everything together.
Yeah, there's nothing because you never sacrifice a piece just like that if you see this position, right? Because now white simply doesn't have anything. And Li Tingji is such an amazing player. I noticed because I was experiencing this firsthand. She beat me a couple of years ago in a classical tournament in Riga Technical University Open, and then somebody even showed me, I think it was a French magazine. Yeah, they published my games, rubbing the salt in the wound, right? But I mean, that was a really spectacular game. She's a very, very strong player. But all of this, I mean, mistakes happen even by great players.
Yeah,
this is a
sure.
classic. Yeah, classic.
And this is, when you usually do this, it's to deliver a smothered mate. But here it's just the queen coming either to f2 or g1 with checkmate.
Yeah. Queen f2 or queen g1, that's mate on the board. So I'm not sure what she could have done here, because bishop takes on g6, f takes, queen h6, rook f6.
Yeah,
it just doesn't
work. It doesn't seem like it works at all. Maybe she could have tried to retreat the bishop and then putting the knight on d4. But I'm not sure that it would that it would be a great position either way, but she might have just panicked. Maybe she didn't have a lot of time, or she simply just miscalculated.
Yeah, I think she miscalculated. She was going for a brilliancy, but unfortunately, she was on the receiving side of it. Yeah, so I think the next round is going to start in a minute, by the way, because it's 45. And
do you have a game that you think could be fun to watch?
Let me check. That's a very interesting question. There's so many interesting games we want to follow.
It's a bit of a luxury problem, because each round there is just so much action going on.
Wait,
and such great players.
I want to follow this game. I've been looking towards this game for quite a while, actually. It's Prague against Vaishali.
Yes, of course. So, yeah, for the people, you might not be able to see it on their last name, but they are actually brother and sister. So this is, of course, a very fun game to follow. They for sure know a lot about each other's playing style and everything. And, I just want to lay it out there. But I once played against Vaishali.
Right.
And, it was an equal position, but she overpressed and I ended up winning the game. So I'm cheering for her in this game, because now if she beats her brother, then I feel like I have beaten him. Just kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's playing an interesting opening here. We see d4, d5, c4, and knight c6. This is not something that we see very often.
Yep. That looks like a surprise.
Because very often, the knight on c6, it gets misplaced because you often put the B knights behind the pawns and not in front of them. But knight c6 and then Prague went knight f3 and bishop g4. How much do you know about this kind of way of playing for black?
Something like the first 4 moves. Not really much. I mean, it's not really a very popular line, but in rapid, you want to surprise your opponent just for one game. I think why not? Why not? I'm actually quite curious how many games Prague against Vaishali have played between each other. They have this amazing opportunity to play a lot of sparring games.
I actually don't know, but I'm pretty sure they also played each other in the last challenge, in the Gelfand challenge, and I think Prague, he won in that game. Not entirely sure, but I think that's how it was. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now what we have is c6 on d5, knight x on d5.
And what if we see e4 here, just trying to get some space in the center?
E4, knight x on c3, b takes, maybe something
E5?
like e5. Yeah. This looks interesting. Bishop b5.
It reminds me a bit of a Grunfeld, just with the bishop not on g7.
Yeah, the bishop still stands on f8, actually. But I'm not even... And e4 is on the board, by the way. I wanted to think also about queen b3. Now, that was my second choice, really. So queen b3 attacking the pawn, threatening with some threats on d5. I don't know. All right, but e4 is played. Knight takes on c3.
What do you think that she will go for here? If you don't play e5, do you go e6?
I think if e6 is played by black, then this is clearly a concession, because you need to challenge black's center. And if black is going to play something like g6 or bishop g7, then the knight for c6 in typical Grunfeld positions is not a great move, because you need to push for the pawn and then put the knight behind it. So I'm pretty sure you need to play something like e5. You just have to play it. Otherwise, what we're doing here, right? I mean, the entire approach for black looks a bit fishy. So you need to challenge this powerful center.
Yeah, so let's say black goes e5 and white goes d5, just attacking the knight. And where does it go? Because I also have some queen a4 check ideas, going back to b3, and then the pawn on e5 can be hanging.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. So let's say, I'm not sure if queen b3, maybe there's bishop b5.
Or bishop b5, yeah.
Yeah, queen b3. There's some big issues here.
Yeah, and usually we don't take this pawn on b7. It's the poisoned pawn, but I don't quite see why not to take it in this kind of position. I don't see where black's counterplay should be.
Yeah, so again, e5, d5. Maybe I have to take on f3. So queen takes on f3.
Taking with either the pawn or the queen should be fine.
Yeah,
and now bishop b5 check. And queen g4 after d7.
Bishop b5. Yep. All of this is playable, but I think it's already irrelevant because this didn't happen. e6 is on the board.
e6 on the board. Rook b1 attacking the b7 pawn.
I think Vaishali simply didn't get out of the opening here because now this is clearly in favor for white. The pawn on b7 is under attack. There's going to be moves like bishop b5 or h3, g4, knight e5. There's so many pleasant ways to bother black.
And the knight on c6 is just misplaced.
Yeah, absolutely misplaced. Absolutely misplaced. It should have been on b6. Can I move it to b6? No, probably not, right? It would make more sense on b6. Yeah, so I think Vaishali either mixed up or she tried to improvise and then lost her way.
She could have been scared about some of Prag's prep. Just thinking that he's in general very well prepped, and he probably knows her openings in and out. So she just went for something, but it didn't seem to work out this time around.
Right. All right. I think we probably can also check another game because Prag here looks to have clearly in charge right after the opening. He has amazing center. He has the open B file. Looks really in a great shape here. So again, probably Ellen, I'll allow you to choose the next game.
Well, then I have to go with the game Mishra against Liang.
Mishra. Just a second. Yep. Yeah, this is a game definitely I was looking towards to.
And it seems crazy somehow. Like, what is that bishop doing on g7? It's like the great wall of black pawns on c7, d6, e5, f6, and g5.
So black is playing checkers here, right?
Yes.
a lot of dark square piece placement. I mean, jokes aside, this approach is absolutely playable because the pawn is going to get pushed forward, something like f5 at some point, and the bishop is going to go out. So it's not really so bad unless white will get to block the g4 and f5 squares. Then it's another story. Very quickly, I'll check. I'm curious, really, how did this happen in the opening phase? Yeah, this is big theory. Bishop c1. Yeah, this is how they usually play. Ellen, I think actually it's interesting that currently the King's Indian reputation at the professional level is sort of fishy. I think so. Yeah, sort of fishy because it's risky. I mean, it's so risky. Of course, engines don't really like the King's Indian. They're saying it's such a bad opening unless they see a mate in 20. But there's so many ways white can claim an advantage, and even some very hardcore King's Indian players like the first one comes to my mind is Hikaru Nakamura, right? He was playing the King's Indian, now he's switched, and he's playing something else. So he's not
playing
an easy
some
opening
Queen's Gambit stuff all the time. Very, very solid stuff compared to the King's Indian. What I love about the King's Indian is all the colorful games that you get. It's so nuanced. There are so many ideas both for black and for white, and the games just turn out absolutely insane so much of the time. The pawn structures are also unique. For example, the pawn structure in this game, that's not a pawn structure you see every day, and especially not from any other openings than the King's Indian.
But I mean, for black, it's very easy actually to play if he ignores what the engine is saying, just push everything towards the king side, right? F5, G5, F4, G4, G3, H3, etc. So it just push forward. Very easy to explain for the chess coach. And for white, it's not so simple
easy
to watch what is happening at the king side.
You need to know what you're doing with white. And I can say that when my opponent plays the King's Indian against me, I get mated so often that it's not even fun. So definitely on my level, you know, the King's Indian, they play it all the time. They mate me each and every single time. But what do we think about this position? It's a bishop pair for black now, but the position is a bit more closed, so that could favor the knight. Black does have some breaks in the position. What do we think? What should white play here?
You know, you mentioned this bishop pair, but I don't think it can be called as that, because this bishop on h6 is not really a bishop. It's half a bishop. I mean, it's not doing anything there. And answering the second part of the question, what to do here for white, I was even thinking about g4. Just make it look bad. It's just bad. So something like, I don't know, bishop g7, f3, h5, king g2, h takes, maybe not the best moves. The question is, how is black ever gonna activate this terrible dark square bishop?
It's not possible.
It's simply impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from the opening side, I think black shouldn't be happy at all. And the g4 is such a, I think, very tempting move. Very tempting move. I'm pretty sure that Abhimanyu right now is looking at this. He probably recognizes the idea, but instead he plays bishop e3.
Well, black still doesn't have any of these pawn breaks, because g4, the bishop on h6 is hanging. f5, I don't like how weak the g5 pawn gets, and the e4 square as well. f5, you know, I just take it, and maybe queen h5 after. Oh, there is some bishop d3 to look out for, but still, take it, bishop takes, queen h5.
Yeah, but the question is, why did Abhimanyu allow this? Because now there's hope for the bishop on h6. I mean, I could even play at some point e4. Maybe queen g6, trade the queens, the bishop is going to get out. I mean, of course, I see this f3, knight e4 ideas to block the dark squares, and the bishop is still bad. But I treat this position to be some kind of progress for black.
So black's position now is better than it was before. When
I have a feeling.
G4.
I have a feeling. Yeah. Oh,
he just played
G4.
G4 in this position. Wow. And what
That's
happens? Yeah, what happens? Bishop G6.
And now you need to get the piece on e4 ASAP. So something like f3. Now the question is, maybe black already has to sacrifice, but maybe not.
E4,
I was thinking about
D4 could be dangerous.
Takes. But at least the bishop is gone.
That is true, but the pawn is also gone now.
Yeah, the pawn is also gone. I mean, what can I say?
Queen b2 check, and there might be something else falling also.
But this is at least a very nice blocker for black, and the bishop on g6 is very active. Black has some sort of a compensation. I'm not sure why Abhimanyu decided that this position is better than the previous one, but I still think white is sort of better, sort of.
But the trend is turning, and he's down to 4 minutes. 4 minutes against a wonder is 6.5 minutes.
H4.
Oh goodness. Oh, this is insanity. So he's trying to take advantage of the fact that the bishop on h6 is not protected.
Maybe he's a pawn grabber just like us. He saw a pawn on g5. He says there's some queen d2 and threatened to win the pawn on g5.
I don't think it's the pawn he's after. I think it's h5 he's after. If he had the move, he'd play h5. Get that bishop away, put the knight on e4, and just try to shut down the position and the bishop on h6.
Yeah, that's indeed a very interesting idea. So question is, what I'm supposed to do if I'm playing for black? I need to activate the bishop, right? On h6. It's bad. Nothing has changed. It's still bad. It's very bad. Yeah, what?
Do you want to go for your e4 again?
Yeah, I guess I want to, but I think it's going to cost me a pawn.
Well, before you said, I don't care about the pawn as long as my bishop is gone.
Yeah,
So
no, probably it is.
maybe it's more than a pawn here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a king it's going to cost you also.
But check what happened in the game.
Bishop g7.
Bishop g7 played by a wonder, and now
giving the g5 pawn away for more than free, but also h5 if Api pleases.
Okay, what happens now if let's say I take the pawn, right? Bishop takes on g5. There's going to be bishop f6,
bishop
right?
f6.
Yeah, there's some activity. There's some activity and possibilities for black to take over the game.
I actually think that the white king might be more vulnerable in this position than the black king. The black king seems kind of safe to me because now the dark squared bishops are gone, and you know the pawns on c7, d6, e5, they create kind of a shield on the dark squares also.
And if I don't take the bishop in f6 and play bishop h6, there is room for some even sacrifices. Bishop takes on h4. And those bishops now actually are bishop pair.
Yes, a very, very dangerous bishop pair. And he also did go h5, not allowing any of this.
Yeah, so h5 is played, bishop f7 is played, and knight e4 and h6, and the bishop is going to go to g8 and h7. And maybe we are going to see a Petrosian sacrifice rook f4.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Something, yeah, I don't know. Let me try to put it on the board. Something like this. I don't know. And can I do this?
It definitely would bring some life to the dark squared bishop.
A lot of life. A lot of life. So this bishop on g7 would be very much alive. Yeah, and h6 is played. I'm pretty sure that Avonder sees the idea. I'm not sure if he's considering the exchange sacrifice on f4. So what we're talking about is a very common exchange sacrifice, which was made by the former world champion Tigran Petrosian many years ago, and I had the greatest respect for this maneuver, so I'm hoping we are going to see that.
You know, Tigran Petrosian, he's actually one of my all-time favorite players. I really liked, especially how it seems that he could play anything he wanted in the opening, and no matter the position he got, he just made it work. That's what I loved the most about him. But we do have so much action in all of these games. How do you say we switch to the game Luke Mendonca against Jingxi?
Yep, let's do that. So Luke Mendonca.
The black king seems to be extremely vulnerable on those dark squares, and I'm wondering, knight g5, what happens?
There is going to be a mate. I have a feeling there's a mate. I mean, maybe even queen h6, knight g5. This looks so good.
Just to stop h5 from happening.
But I mean, we can try to make it work right away. So let's say knight g5, the mate threat is there. h5, g4. Oof.
There's maybe bishop takes g6 instead of g4.
Instead of g4, bishop takes on g6. Oh, you're going for the spectacular lines.
Yeah, I want the brilliant surprise.
And attack the rook.
I don't know. Probably this doesn't... Well, if you move the rook, then queen f6. I'm threatening some stuff on f8.
Yep.
And rook f7, I take g6.
Yeah, still not easy, by the way. Yeah, queen f8 is actually a huge threat.
Maybe unnecessary. And he also did go nice. Queen h6. Yeah, I mean, if you can sack a piece, it could be fun. But Mendonca decided there was no need.
I mean, we can absolutely consider this because this is not our game, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Just throw other people's pieces around. That's what I love.
Okay, queen h6 is on the board, by the way. Strategy knight g5.
Yeah, what should black play?
By the way, I have to mention though, did you notice, Ellen? Black has an extra pawn. Does it
Oh,
even
I didn't
feel?
count the pawns
Yeah.
at all. No.
Does it even feel? Not
No,
at
it
all,
doesn't
right?
feel. It doesn't feel like Black has this extra pawn at all.
Not at all. Doesn't
She
feel.
went rook d5, but this doesn't just allow a little knight g5.
Queen
Is she
e5.
and she's trying to say there's no mate because of the bishop on e8.
Yeah, there's no
Wow.
mate at f7. The bishop actually does something. I mean, it's protecting pawn on f7. But rook takes on d5 is played.
Yeah,
Takes
just
on
messing up the pawn structure. Maybe e6.
Something along the lines of this. Yeah, I have a feeling that the bishop, the knight, the queen should be able to make a quick work of the weakened black king.
Mm-hmm.
How do you play this? And check this out. I'm a fan. I mean, what can I say? Leon plays rook e1.
Very controlling chess. Just
Very
trying
controlling chess.
to stop all the opponent's active counterplay.
Yeah, so he prepares knight g5, and then he's threatened with some queen h7 ideas, pretty much including every single game into the attack. So knight e8 is played. By Li Tingji, she is down on the clock, and maybe, just maybe, she is still what we call it, having some bad memories from the previous game, because she blundered, right? In this previous game, she went for a brilliancy, and she just miscalculated, and this remains in your head.
For sure. It won't be nice for her to start with 0 out of 2. But you know, the good thing about this tournament is the time control is short. There's always another game. So even though you might be a little bit down, there's always a chance to fight back and to do your best.
Yeah, but I think knight h7 seals the game immediately. So not queen h7, knight h7. I think that's it. Lights out. So the knight is getting to f6 instead of the queen mate. There's going to be a knight mate. And Leon Luke is thinking about this.
And he did take with the knight.
And he did play it, so I'm pretty sure it's game over. I don't see any defense against knight f6. F6, knight f6. This game is, yeah.
Oh, and she's even allowing the mate here after knight f6, rook f6, ef6, knight e6, rook takes e6,
yeah,
f takes e6, and mates on g7.
I wanted to say maybe it's a possibility for mouse slip, but I'm not even sure where the rook would be heading, really. Not to f6. There's no room for mouse slip.
Mm.
Okay, let's maybe switch to another game. Again, maybe Ellen, you can choose a game.
Ooh, one player we haven't looked at yet is Yali Sokolovsky from Israel, and he's right now playing against Aditya. This game seems to be very interesting. I have no clue what's going on, who's better, why. I don't even know. I can't count pieces here. It's too complicated.
I want to sacrifice on g7. Can I do that? Please, can I do it?
Wow. And then you want to go queen h6, king f7.
King f7. I wanted to show there's a brilliant mate, maybe, which is not there. So queen h7, rook f6, check here, and there's no mate. Or maybe there's mate. No, there's no mate.
The bishop can go back. There isn't some knight d4. No.
I think it does work. And this rook on the 7th rank actually is a good piece, which is bothering the black king.
But I'm wondering, how did that rook go to a7? Like, which route did it take? Was it on c1?
Let's check it. Oh, king's Indian.
Wow, again. Another king's Indian. We like to see it.
Oh wow. Does this line even exist?
I have no clue.
b5, c8. I've never seen it before, to be honest. But then again,
and now it looks like a Benko. Yes, a Benko. It looks like, just with the pawn and e6.
What is this? Okay, I don't understand this line. Okay,
the queen is on an adventure.
Oh wow. Okay. Here we go.
King
Every single
F1.
move.
Prophylactical move.
Every single one. I'm just.
You know, we're actually
enjoying
going to see a mate on the board very, very soon. It seems that Aditya just played rook takes g7, and after king h8, the other rook will go to h7 with a mate.
Oh, he blundered knight e5, rook takes on g7. Oh, that's a mate. That's a very, very bad move, knight e5. But wait, how did this happen? So he played bishop takes on b3, and that's a mistake, right? Because after takes, queen a2. No, that's a huge pin. Is it? What if I play something like knight c1?
Knight c1, wow.
Protect the rook, attack the queen. What is happening
Queen c2?
here? Queen c2.
I attack both the pieces.
Yeah, maybe there's nothing here.
Mm.
So yeah, what happened is that
But this happens when you don't have any time on the clock. I saw that they were down to seconds.
I mean, this was an amazing game. Listen, I'm just I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm just watching this game in a complete disbelief, right? Starting about here. So I'm pretty sure this is some theory, right? After d5, b5 takes, b6, and the black queen is sort of disconnected from the action. And why?
I'm not sure if it's theory, because it seems bad for black to me. It seems like a benko, but you're like, what do you have for that one pawn you're down? You have a disconnected queen. Your pieces are not really working together. This h5 is coming very quickly. I don't see it.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right indeed, but a very, very spectacular game. Let's check. Maybe there's more games running still.
We haven't seen Leia Garifulina. She had a bye in the first round, and it seems she's about to beat Dagubati.
Yeah,
that
Dagubati.
Pawn on c7 is going down the board.
So the pawn stands on c7. It's about to be promoted, and I think something like knight d6. Yep.
Also threatening a mate on e8.
Yep. That seems to be very good. Although black also has the pawn on b3, so maybe black is even happy to sacrifice the rook. I'm not sure how happy really, but let's say something like king g8. I put a queen. I take it, and then somehow white cannot stop my pawn. Somehow. I don't know how it really is possible, something like this. Maybe there's some miracle escape.
That would be a miracle escape indeed.
Yeah. And there's a chance we are going to see something like that in the game, because no, we are not anymore, I guess.
Knight c4 and picking up the pawn on b2 seems to be coming quickly.
Yeah, so this pawn is not going anywhere. So Garifulina looks to be in a great shape to win the game. So it's an extra rook. The pawn is not going anywhere. The knight needs to get to a3. How do you get the knight to a3? It's simply impossible. You need to get the knight to a3. It's not getting there. A knight c3 is not helping black. So yeah, this game is. I'm pretty
and we
sure.
do see a result. With Leia taking this one home. Starting with 1 out of 1, even though it is round 2.
Yep, and it's finished. The game is finished. So again, let's maybe switch to what is happening in Pavel Tetzlav game against Joe Ginner, because both kings are very weak.
Exchange up. No, white is an exchange up. Pavel is an exchange up here. Now it's a piece. It seems this is the round for the white pieces. If Pavel takes this one home, it will be 6 wins for the white pieces with still 2 games remaining.
Oh, wow. So in the first round, the black color was clearly dominating the round, right? Now it's the white color. How many draws?
0 draws this round.
0 draws.
0 draws and so much time, trouble, action. Look at the game. Mishra against a wonder. it was an exchange sacrifice, as you have mentioned before. Look at that bishop on e5, just controlling all of those dark squares.
And now it's a monstrous bishop, right? I mean, it was such a bad bishop earlier in the game, and now it's just controlling the game, and it's what, 1, 2, 3 pawns for the exchange. So we have to go back. We have to go back to this moment. A long way. In the opening phase, I just want to mention, I had a feeling that g4, I mean, it had to be played, and now black played f5. He activated his pieces, put exactly the bishop on h7. Was there an exchange sacrifice? And there was.
You mentioned this rook f4 a long time ago, and we see it on the board. Oh, this is great. I love these exchange sacrifices.
Yep, me too. So this is what happened in the game. So let's go to the live positions right now. One pawn is gone. Where is it?
It's lost.
Oh, the second pawn is gone
anymore.
Oh, what is happening here? It's a time trouble, right?
Yes, they don't have any time. I wouldn't like to be in their shoes right now, but we might see a draw with some rook checks, or maybe Mitra will play for a win.
He is going to try to play for the win. Yeah, rook f4 check, otherwise the king is cut off. You need to trade rooks, I think. Rook f4 check has to be played, otherwise it's like rook c7, rook c8 in time trouble. You don't want to test this.
No, not at all.
And not at all, but...
he has 5 seconds. Oof, he went rook c4, not rook f4. Is a wonder playing for the win?
No,
I can't tell anymore.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Wow, indeed. He's pushing the rook in the last rank. This is something I would never play myself, but then again, white doesn't have any possibility to deliver the, what I call it, this typical checkmate on h7 and g7. Chigorn's checkmate, right? He blundered this mate into.
Yes, I've also heard it as the pig's mate, I think.
What mate?
I think it's like a pig. That's what I've heard it, because it looks a little bit like it. I don't know, with the 2 rooks, and then and then the king is at kind of tail or something. Not sure.
Right, maybe it's still a draw because white cannot really progress. Check, king g2. You have to go back, rook f8, but very tough position to play in time scramble. Rook h7. Now the pawn on h6 might be lost. How do you protect it? Rook f6.
Rook f6, then and then rook b8. Oh, rook b8 hangs the rook on h7. Oops.
Yeah, but now there's going to be rook g6. Takes, and bishop g7 imprison the rook. Takes, checkmate.
Wow, that's cute. That is cute. But who's really checkmated here? Yeah, okay, the king can... Well...
I don't know. Looks fun.
Looks fun. But they are just blitzing the moves.
I think white is definitely playing here for the win, because the rook trade is going to happen. And if the king goes to g6, only white can win this, because the passed pawns, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, so this is why Liang plays g4, g3, in order to stop this king's march to g6, so that he has to say what's happening here. Yeah, probably it's a draw.
What do you give the chances of white winning this game?
White has some chances, black has none. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how realistic white, maybe some kind of a Zugzwang. Yeah, some kind of a Zugzwang, because these pawns might be lost. Actually, no, it's a Zugzwang, right? Meaning no moves.
Oh, the pawn on h6 will be lost. So do you need to play d5 to free up the bishop? Okay, but I'm gonna ask. Let's say that I as black lose both my g3 and my d6 pawn, and then I put my bishop on g5 and move it on the c1 h6 diagonal. How is white going to win?
That is a very valid question, Ellen, but I think it's something you don't want really to find out in an actual game. I suspect it's a draw, right? You give up the pawn on g3, a d5 position, the bishop on g5. Maybe it's a draw. Maybe it's a mate, actually. You just don't know, and you're trying to not a gamble. So king h8, he decided to give up the pawn on h6 instead.
Yeah, I would just be so scared to give the pawn on h6. I wouldn't want my opponent to get a past h1.
Yep. King f7 is played. And the 5 castle they played. No, king is going to go back. I think we are going to see your position, actually, Ellen.
We might bishop f4. But how does he stop
what
the
just
pawn
happened?
now?
Oh,
he
bishop
stop the
g5,
pawn?
this pawn is going to promote. And it's a wrong corner.
Oh, no. But king e6, g2, king f7, g1, and then it's a draw with the rook.
Oh, wow. Now
Oh,
it's
he
a
went
draw.
like this.
I mean,
He could. Oh, that was a beautiful draw, though.
yeah,
But
even
now,
if you promote it, it's a wrong corner for the bishop. I mean, the black cannot win this. But that's
yes,
a nice trick.
but wow, that I really like that draw as well.
There was apparently a win for white. Okay, now this is a draw, but there was a win. Instead of king takes on d5, rook g4 was win. But yeah, rook g4, actually, this feels good.
And so I'm guessing my bishop g5 isn't the draw.
I guess you're right. Maybe takes here. Here. Let me just make a lot of moves.
Yeah,
Moves.
this position.
A lot of moves, right? So I'm going here. I'm going here, here, and here. And
But
here.
how did my king get out of the corner?
I don't know.
I wanted to stay on h7 and h8 though.
I think you are getting risked to get mated.
Oh yeah, I see. So this was clever. Because I really just wanted my king to go back and forth.
Okay, there's rook f7, but this is very tricky. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is winning at all. But I have a feeling I've seen this position before from some Dvoretsky's endgame manual, but I don't recognize it right away. All right.
Well, what an exciting round. All the games have finished with 7.5 to white in this round. That's just incredible. Maybe one round we will see the full 8-0 to a color. That could be fun.
This is actually the only draw in the round.
Yes, but what a draw it was.
Yeah, what a draw indeed. So maybe, Ellen, you can read the results of the second round?
Yes. So we did have this draw in the game Mishra against Awander Liang. Luke Mendonca beat Lei Ting-shi. Then we had Aditya Mittal beating Israeli Sokolovsky. Teklov with a win against Zhu. And then Prague did beat his sister Vaishali. Gary Fulina also with her first win against Takupati. And Mamat Sada, she had the bye in this round.
All right. So I believe we have something like 7 minutes until the next round is going to start, so we can have a look at what we missed. So we can very quickly review some of the most exciting games. I just have to find one.
Maybe we should see how the game between Prague and Vaishali ended.
Yep, let's do that. Absolutely, that's a great choice. So we left it right after the opening, this whatever it is, d5 knight c6 opening, and Vaishali sacrificed the pawn. So after rook b1, we left it. We decided that Vaishali's position is not great, right?
Yeah, not very good.
Not very good. So she sacrificed a pawn, trying to get out of this position. And now she played some sort of a ground fill, but the difference is the pawn is not there.
Yeah, no pawn on b7 anymore.
Yep.
But I like that she tried to play it in this manner as well. You know, she used some of the themes that she knew from one opening and then applied them to another.
Yeah, but she managed to get some sort of a game going. Now, definitely White has a great position to bishops, very strong pass pawn at d5, but still not easy to crash through. So rook b1 is a great move, threatening to play bishop c6, rook b7, trying to win something. But now black is trying to hold this. Yeah, building a brick wall. Knight b8. Oh, and she allowed to take it. Why? And wait, I don't follow. So why not knight b6? Is there something wrong with knight b6? Because my idea was I want to build a brick wall and I want to hide behind it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no wall.
Are you
right?
really gonna, like, if I play a4, are you really gonna get your brick wall?
No. Probably
I'm
not
gonna play a5, a6, queen b7. If I can.
Those are very valid points. Very valid points. So maybe it's simply impossible to hold this. So she played king e7, a4, a5. This is actually what happened in the game, but king f1.
To me, this seems like very stable conversion from Prague. He's just clinging on to his advantage, using his bishops, and yeah. How did the game end?
I just wanted to pinpoint this moment when Prague played very quickly f3, g4, establishing a second pass pawn at the king side. So that's a really nice technique. Now, this is why Charlie didn't take it. Now the pawn on h5 is a weakness. So maybe it was a positional inaccuracy. I mean, I'm not sure how really it is a positional inaccuracy because the position is not great for black. But this move h5. This move h5 allows a white to create a pass pawn at the king side. So maybe black should have just, I don't know, positioned everything at the dark squares. But it's easy to say, right?
I think it's difficult to say. I wouldn't have any clue on how to keep this position together for black.
There was a trick. There was a trick. So Prague sacrificed the pawn on h4 in order. Well, this is very tricky. Now king d7, a bishop a4 check, and d6, d7 is about to get promoted. And now he simply wins the pawn on c5. Now white has two connected pass pawns.
And the pawn on h5 does not mean anything in this position.
Oh, and check this out, d6. Very lovely.
Wow.
Very lovely. Check on c5. That's a fork. That's a one fork. I mean, it's not technically a fork, right? But now comes a real fork.
And even after king takes d6 and then c5, king d5 takes b6, king d4 takes on a7, it would have been an unstoppable queen. So black didn't even have the chance to win back the piece.
Right. So so this was a very, very nice game by Prague against his sister. I do have to say that Vaishali was putting up quite a good resistance after she misplayed the opening. She correctly, I believe so, she correctly sensed that she needs to sacrifice the pawns. She managed to get some kind of blockade, but it was not enough.
It was not enough. And with those words, we will be taking a short break before the start of the third round here in the Hou Yifan challenge of the Julius Baer Challengers Chess Tour. Stay with us.
See you in a bit.
Goes to f7, then there is still
Hours on g4. So after king to f6 and king to f2.
Tenemos el rey ahí n8 un poco mal, no podemos enrocar corto.
Y también se puede hacer, por ejemplo, alfil g4.
Защиту. Но пока что они этого не делают. Играют ферзь d2, рокировка, и теперь играют c4.
Thank you so much for the lessons.
Gracias por las clases.
Gracias por las clases.
Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself.
Super discounts on merchandise. Massive sales on courses from Chessable. Chessable and Chess24 bundles, with new deals appearing every day. Visit chess24.com/deals.
Let's take someone with a random account, with a random name that just seems attractive.
Play live online against the world's top chess players while they stream their thoughts live. As a Chess24 Premium member, seize the chance to have your moment of fame. Get a peek inside their lives with question and answer sessions, in-depth teaching, analysis and interviews. The Champions Chess Tour, with countless accompanying events, is happening now. Tune in on Chess24. Watch Chess.
And we are back live from the Hou Yifan challenge with you. It's Ellen, Frederica, Nilssen, and me, Arturs Neiksans. We are the hosts of the fourth leg of the Julius Baer chess challenge.
And we already have action. And I can see that the game that you have up already is the game between Vaishali and Leah Garifulina. Some interesting pairings for today, but Vaishali, she decided to play a queen d3 against the Neiksans. Magnus himself.
Ellen, this reminds me of this famous joke. I remember there was some discussion on Facebook. What has not yet been played in this position, right? So everything has been played. It started with the bishop c4 in the Fischer era. There's obviously a bishop e2. There's bishop g5. There's f3. There's f4. There's g3. There's h3. Some people even claim h4 for reasons unknown. I'm not sure why h4 is a great move. It helps at some point. There's a3. There's a4. There's knight b3. What was the latest discovery? I think it was bishop d2 by Lucas van Forest. I think he played bishop d2 because nobody else played it. And yeah, queen d3. Queen d3 is one of the moves, of course, possible in this position. I guess the idea is to get the queen very quickly to g3.
And it is an idea adopted by both the world champion Magnus Carlsen himself and also Jordan van Forest in the, I'm not going to say recently played because it is many months ago now, but in the Tata Steel chess tournament, I'm pretty sure they both played this move, and then both against Nils Grantelius. They did well with this queen d3, and I'm very excited to see what Vaishali she has prepared for this game.
Right. Yeah, so a bishop g5 makes a lot of sense because white is fighting for the central squares of e4 and d5. So that's why black plays knight d7, with the idea that after the trade on f6, black still keeps tabs on the central squares. I imagine that from the white's perspective, I would want to position the bishop on the long diagonal. I mean, the light square bishop. The question is how to do it, right? I'm not really sure about that. Maybe it's, maybe it's bishop e2, bishop f3. Maybe it's g3, bishop g2. Which side would you choose?
Ooh, I'm not a big expert, but I do know most of this from the black side, so probably just I'd take black because that's where I have the most experience. I also like that the white pawn for black that the white pawn is on f5 because I feel it gives black a little bit more freedom and control in the center. I could easily imagine a knight c5 jump or a knight b6 to help play d5. And a quick castles also comes. The usual kingside attack is not really there for white. Though white has the bishop pair, and still it's not entirely clear how black is going to advance the central pawns. So dynamically balanced, but I would prefer black here.
All right. Yeah. I guess we're gonna find it out. So black, as you said, white has the 2 bishop pair, black has the 2 knights advantage. Everything is definitely possible here. I think. Oh, and just as I wanted to say, let's switch.
D5.
He plays D5. Can I take it? Probably not, right? Take, and the bishop on G5 is lost because.
And bishop E7. There's knight takes E7. Just getting back with the knight.
So after D5, that's a great move actually, because no, knight E5 is impossible. And I start to see why you like this position from black's perspective. Okay,
yeah,
so
I was saying that it wasn't quite clear how black was supposed to do this, but she just did it immediately.
She did it right away, right? So yeah, it works tactical wise. So knight takes on D5 is impossible. Bishop takes on F6 doesn't change anything because the pawn on D5 is protected. So I imagine white wants to apply pressure against the pawn on D5 ASAP, really. And oh, she traded already.
Yeah, I was actually about to suggest bishop takes F6, knight takes F6, and then I was going to say rook D1 and not long castles. But I just wanted to provoke D4 to get some light squares for my knight and my bishop. So I was thinking, like, because how else do you protect the pawn here?
I'm not sure if I want to protect it actually.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking about E4 because I have some hallucinations that I might organize a big attack using this long diagonal positioning the bishop on F6. So I thought something like, I don't know, E4, queen D4, maybe short. Wait, what? Short castle, knight E5, queen D5, and play something like this. So this was my idea. So play bishop F6 and then do something there. But maybe it's not good. I mean, I don't know. So this didn't happen.
Leia, she did go for D4, knight E4, a trade on F6, and now we have an opposite colored bishop's middle game here. So there are still heavy pieces on the board. People, they tend to overestimate the fact that there are opposite colored bishops too much. They say opposite colored bishops, we have a draw. But with the heavy pieces, it's all about who can attack the quickest here. And
that's right. It's
I like the looks of the white squares. I like the white squares here. You know, as you pointed out with the arrows, G4, H4, G5.
Yeah.
Isn't
that was my dream.
Quick?
That was my dream to make it happen, but maybe it's takes some time. And if black manages to trade the queens, or maybe why do I trade queens? I could play something like queen b6, rook c3, be very creative, or maybe not. Okay,
she goes for b5. Sometimes there are also some e4 ideas. If you can force white to take with the queen and then play d3, just sacrificing all the pawns to open up for the bishop on f6.
Right.
But I don't know how it's going to happen.
In my grandmaster's opinion, this is an equal position. What do you think? I don't know.
In my stockfish opinion, if I look at the evaluation bar, I say it's an equal position.
It looks equalish. Yeah, bishop e4 is a great move, protecting the pawn on c2. Visually, I like white's position more, visually, because it just feels more natural to push forward the pawns. Now, queen c4, black is trying to trade queens. I think white can actually decline it. Can play something like queen f3, and g4, g5 is such an easy plan. While black will have to somehow try to push a5, a4, a3, use those dark squares. All right. I read in the chat there's some crazy action happening in the Winston Kiemer's game. I don't know if that's true, but that's a confirmation that we are reading what you are saying there.
Yeah. I also thought that we should check out that game. I was reading the exact same comment.
Let me find it. Oh, this is the what is this? This is the Caro, right? The Caro with Queen B6, Queen B2 line, I think. Just a second, very quickly. Yeah, it's the Caro, this very topical line. Yeah, Queen B2, etc. You know, I haven't been following this line so much, meaning not at all, right? But I know that the reputation is that the black is doing very much fine here. It's supposedly a very dangerous continuation. You need to have good memory to remember the lines, but black supposedly is almost having a forced draw in this line. So that's why some grandmasters here, instead of the actual knight f3, they start to play knight bd2, knight b3 right away, for example, here. So that this entire approach of e6, knight b3, now c5 is a possibility, of course, but now this entire approach of queen b6 is not really so dangerous. Sometimes the knight on b3 is great, sometimes it's not, right? So it's not really so simple. But this, of course, is a big theory. This is big theory, so I cannot really say what's the current status.
And I have to say, it seems that Vincent, he is so extremely well prepared in this Caro-Kann. He knows exactly what he's doing. We can also see this from his use of time. He's just banging out those moves. He's confident. He knows that he has this under control. And of course, he'd love to win this game. He's telling himself that he has to win it. But if Olivia knows what she's doing also, and she remembers a lot of theory, then maybe he can get more out of a draw out of this line, and he might regret a little bit not going after some other line. But these are always the choices you have to make. Do you test your opponent's memory, or what do you really do? Because
also Olivia appears to be very well in the preparation. Still, she has 5 minutes, so this is essentially a clash of preparation. Vincent has top-notch preparation so far. G5, yeah, sure, why not? Blitzed out very quickly. The idea, I guess, is to play something like King G7, go after the pawn on D6. Oh, wait, King G7 drops the pawn on E6, so that's impossible, right? So Rook E6. I imagine White has to play something like H3, G3, a window for the king.
In general, what do you think about this rook endgame? Who do you think is better, and why?
If black will manage to put the king on F6, black is better. Definitely. I think so, because let me maybe remove the arrows. Let's say if I manage to play king f6, not drop the pawn on e6, I manage to play rook d8, I manage to play rook a6, these pawns are not going anywhere. So I would be thinking, maybe I'm wrong, but my instinct says that one of those pawns is going to drop. Unless, of course, white somehow managed to play rook e3, rook f3 to bother the pawn on f7. But I think white needs to play careful here. That's my first instinct. Maybe I'm wrong, but then again, the question is, what happens if now white plays g3? How does black solve the problem of the pawn on e6 being hanging? Because king g7 is rook e6.
Yeah, but also the pawn on a2, and black still has his own d passer. I like for Vincent that he has quite a bit more time than Olivia here. If she goes too low down on time, then she really has to be careful, because it's only a 5-second increment. I could imagine that g3, in some cases, you can meet it with king g7, because after rook takes e6, then this pawn on a2 actually will be hanging, and then you can quickly get your rook to d8 maybe. I think that's worst case for black. So I think that's a good sign for black if that is the worst case of all.
Yeah. Maybe black can try to challenge the pawn on d6 right away, something like rook d8 or rook a6. I'm not sure which is the best. So let's say I play rook d8, challenging the pawn. Yeah, how do you defend it actually?
Maybe I have to go rook d6 because after d7, I'm scared of king e7.
Yeah, but now king g7, I got exactly what I wanted, right? I mean, king g7, I'm going to position the rook on d7, the other rook goes out, and this was my idea that those pawns, they feel vulnerable. Oh, I'm not sure, actually. You know, Ellen, I'm not sure because what do you say? Is the pawn on d6 a strength or is it a weakness?
Oh, it depends on how quickly my a pawn can run.
Right.
So if I play a4, rook d7, a5.
You mean right away?
Yes.
Let me maybe go to this position after king g7.
Yeah.
Let me play a4, rook d7, a5.
a5, rook d8. Oh, you want to go rook a6?
I don't know what I want to do. I don't know.
My
rook
point
d8.
was that if you go rook d8, I can go a6. Probably, maybe not. I'm not in. I'm just.
No, what did I do? I did something wrong.
No, okay. no, I did something wrong because after rook takes d6, rook takes d6, rook takes d6, I wanted to go rook a2, but the rook is just in time with rook d8, a7, and rook a8.
Yeah, and the king is gonna go here and snatch the pawn, probably.
She found another way to protect the pawn.
Okay, let's see it. So instead of this, she played
king f1 first.
Yeah, king f1, rook c2. Oh, that's interesting. Sacrificing. Oh, that's not even a sacrifice. Rook d6 is going to be a check.
And then
take.
The f7 pawn will drop.
And this is the position.
Okay, so black also has to be careful now. The a pawn and the d pawn, they can run.
They can run. Yeah, indeed. And I didn't see this plan, to be honest, but I start to like it. I start to like it because...
Is black in time with... No. If I got a million moves, I'd play king f6, king e5, f5, rook f7, king d6, and snack that pawn on d7.
Wow, that's a beautiful plan.
But unfortunately, I don't have all the moves in the world. That a pawn can run quickly as well.
Let's try to make it work. Let's say king f6, a4, king e5, a5, king d6, or maybe f5 doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, okay. That's quite obvious. Quite obvious that rook f7 is going to be something like rook c8.
B8 or c8, yeah.
All right. So not so simple.
Not so simple, and a lot of action on the other boards while this rook endgame gets played out.
Yes, let's check some other boards as well.
I see some I see a Najdorf between Nilssen and Mishra. That's always interesting. But I also see a huge advantage in the game we looked at in the beginning with Vaishali and Garifulina. It seems that White's attack did come very, very quickly in that game. But yeah, we can take this game against Volodya and Apimanyu.
Yeah, let's do this and then very quickly switch back to Vaishali's game against Garifulina. Indeed, I imagined White managed to play h4, g4, g5 in that game. So again, Mishra is playing the same, neither of the same h5. Very quickly, how did this happen? The same stuff, h5, long cast. Okay, this time it was a long cast on b1.
Yeah, in the previous game it was played with bishop e2 and then knight d5, where Apimanyu, he played bishop takes d5, but here after long castles, then... Or here now, knight takes d5 and bishop f5.
Yeah, but he took with the knight, not with the bishop.
Yes, so, but there was also a difference in move order before the knight went to d5.
All right, so this is definitely an alternative line.
Well, this, as far as I know, this line is known to be nothing for White, actually, because Black just gets the light squared bishop traded. And I'm not sure why he didn't get the dark squared bishop traded also.
Because that's a sacrifice. Oh, wait, it's not a sacrifice. What I'm telling there, yeah, it's not a sacrifice. Okay. You know, I would choose White because let's imagine this position. I already want to go back at this moment after knight f6, rook hg1, very deep move by Volodar. And I think the issue for black here is that where's the king going to go? Because in the first round's game against, who did they play against? Was it Li Tingji? I think so.
You mean the game with Mishra? It was against the Jingxi, yeah.
Yeah, Li Tingji. Exactly. So there he played h5 on the short castle. But here, Morrison has already played rook g1, and he's willing to play g4, g5, or g4, g takes h5, open the g file. So that's why Mishra here is slightly cautious to castle short, and he thinks that the king is feeling more safe in the center. This position.
Now there are some light squares which are being questioned here.
Yep. Knight f6 is also a huge threat. Rook f1. I would absolutely play this.
f4 coming maybe.
f4.
Just to try to open up for the rook on f1. But can black go f5 first?
Yeah, but the king, I don't know.
Well, the king is staying in the center.
Yeah, the king has to stay in the center. I mean, with the queens gone, yeah, black has a great position. But with the queens on the board, I don't know, something like knight g3, f4, knight f5, the position is going to open. Can we try to guess? Let's say f4, knight f5, rook f6 is going to be a funny fork, knight g7. And if I play something like rook g6, how does white open the position with g3? Because the rook on g1 doesn't really go, right?
Okay, but I'm thinking, even with your funny fork, isn't the knight kind of trapped on h5?
You want to question my funny fork? Okay. Here we go. Okay, rook f6, check.
Knight g7, king e7,
king e7, knight h5.
And then
this was my brilliant idea.
Oh, you wanted to go g4, and if I take en passant?
I still have a funny fork.
Oh, that was okay. So this might have been the funny fork that you were talking about.
Yeah. This was my grandiose idea here, but it didn't happen. And knight e4 is actually played.
And rook g6.
And rook g6.
So the pawn on g2 is not hanging because of knight f6 problems.
Yeah, the pawn on g2 cannot be taken.
But I do like how the dark squared bishop is taking away so many dark squares for white.
I agree.
The knight on e4 looks pretty, and it takes away a few squares. But besides that, I don't think that black is out of the game at all. I think this is a very interesting position. Really just about who plays better here.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And I'm starting also to think that maybe black's position is a bit easier to play, because I'm thinking, okay, my king's on e8 now, standing not so well. I could play something like king f8 and king g7.
I was thinking king d8, king c7, king b7.
Okay, you want to run to the queens, right? I want to run to the kings. I don't know. But anyway, not in the center. And white is thinking, I should try to open the position, right? How do I open the position? Because g3, it's never happening. How do you prepare g3? I try to imagine this: queen f1, queen h1, queen h2.
And the pawn on h4 can also become a weakness at some point. The bishop can swing across so quickly to d8.
Right.
And just take the pawn on h4.
I have a feeling that Mishra is taking over here, but okay, they're down on the last minute, so I guess we should
Everything can happen. Everything can happen.
Everything can happen. Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess something like king f8 or king d8. What do you think is going to happen? King f8 or king d8?
I want the pawn on h4. So that's why I want to run to the queen side, but I also think it's a bit more risky running to the queen side. There's sometimes some rook c1 and c4.
You played it. Sorry, Alan.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I tried.
But actually, that was a pretty interesting idea to position the king on b7. I like it as well, but maybe on the intuition level, I have a feeling that the king is going to feel more secure on g7. Maybe something like king g7, king, I don't know where it's going to go. King
h6 looks fun.
What does look fun?
King h6 looks fun.
King h6, yeah. Protect the pawn on h4.
Yeah.
Now Nilssen plays rook e2 here.
He's playing checkers now. Now he just needs the pawn on b3.
Okay, I just have to draw this again. A lot of light square placement here. All right, king g7 is played, and Nilssen is difficult to play because for black it's very easy. You have a plan: bring the king to the safety and attack the pawn on g2. What does white do? What does white do here? I mean, I don't know what the engine is saying here, but because we're not using any engines here for our analysis, but I have a feeling that at some point white will be purely in the defensive. Yeah, rook h1, that's a very defensive move.
Are you sure? You don't think it's just because he's preparing to sacrifice some pawns with g4 and knight g5? I don't know.
Actually, now that you say, that looks interesting. g3 and rook g2 maybe.
So might not be. Might not be
that was the idea.
Yes, for stopping the queen from going to h3. This is some deep stuff with 10 seconds on the clock. Wait, where's Mishra's time going? Oh my goodness. He made his move with less than 1 second. He should be so careful.
Who you're rooting for Mishra or Nilssen?
I don't have an opinion in this game exactly. I think it would be nice to see both of them when they're so incredibly strong.
Right. All right. Rook g8, rook g5, rook g6 was traded on g6, a3, queen f5. Okay, so this is a game played on seconds. Everything can happen here. Yeah, so Nilssen has his king on a2 just in case.
Trying to take some control over the dark squares here with queen f4. And the pawn on b5 is not hanging because of the pawn on f3. So rook f1 protecting that one. Will he take on h4? He went d4 first.
I think first he secures the queen side. Yeah, b4 is a great move, opening the queen side.
Ooh,
so
queen b5. This could be dangerous. Queen coming to d7. And the pawn on d6 is hanging sometimes. Oh, queen b8. Oh, what is this? Queen takes h4 is protecting. Knight takes d6. This is insane.
What is this?
How about queen e7 here? Oh, then there might be knight b7. Can he go knight b7? Okay, he didn't. That pawn on b2 got very far into the position.
Wow, this is a huge mess. I mean, to play this with increment, queen takes on e5, check.
But bishop f6?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. I think this bishop needs to be eliminated. Exactly, this is what happens. Now queen f6 drops another pawn on h5, but the pawn on b2 lives. It's still there.
Yeah, the pawn on b2 lives, and we do have some results. Vaishali beat Garifalina, Shu Jainer lost to Pragnanana, Tingxi against Aditya Mittal. That was a draw. A Wonder beat Mendonca. Vincent, he did win that Rooken game, and Christopher Yu with a win against Mohammad Sada.
Right. So queens got traded. Very quickly, I want to mention here, I was not sure if this trade is necessary, but queen a4 check is a huge threat. And this is something you don't want to find what happens. Maybe queen e8 was a better move. Queen e8, you need to figure out some checks on, okay, queen a4 check, not, but queen c4 check. You need to understand all of this. Queen e8 was a huge move threat with a mate, but there's something just happened.
Wait, did he just lose on time?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. But he must have lost on time. He looks perplexed. He doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, but I think white already is winning here, right? c4, c5, c6. He just took over the game very quickly.
Oh, that C pawn, that is so sneaky.
Yes, sneaky C pawn.
Because I was thinking that the rook endgame was excellent for black, but that's two connected passed pawns. They can't be stopped.
Right. So maybe actually that was indeed a great trade, because
Wow, this is so well spotted.
yeah, if you don't, but if you look at that position without seeing what's happening else, the pawn on b2, pawn on a4, they're static pawns, right? I mean, they're not doing anything. Essentially, it's a race. It's a race of white's 3 pawns against 1 pawn on h5.
But let's see, what happens if you go rook b6 here?
Rook b6. And if I play e5? Your idea is to promote and play h4. Oh wow!
Yes,
I mean, this is
that was my, and I also, because I promote with check, yes.
Oh wow, that's very deep.
But we still have a game going.
Yep.
The game against Sokolovsky and Teklov. They also don't have any time left whatsoever. In what seems to be a nice position for white here, that b5 pawn is a real weakness.
Yeah, now knight c6, a bit paradoxical decision to trade away this terrible bishop on d7, but white needs to somehow crash through. Now the pawn on b5 is a weakness. The king is going to go to d4.
Oh, maybe even all the way to c5.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
One square more.
One square more, going after the pawn on b5.
And I think he's doing it.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to do this. So black needs the knight on c7.
Maybe he's going to a5 with the rook somehow.
Rook a5, king c6 protects the pawn. Or maybe it's still the same knight c7. I think it's about balanced. I'm not sure. What's
the pawn? Okay, the pawn count is even here. So, rook d6. That's a good move. Just getting the king away. So king e3.
Yeah, I guess king e3, and
is black ever going to give up a pawn with d4 to play knight d5?
Oh, that's a good question. But then after d4, king d4, knight e5 check, there would be rook b3.
And then the pawn on f4 would be hanging. But then the pawn on b5 might be hanging. This is impossible to calculate when you don't have any time.
Yeah, I think Ellen, they're just trying to play some intuitive moves, not making big decisions, because trying to win some time. But
you think we might see a draw with rook c6, king d7, rook d6, or will Sokolovsky play for a win?
No, I think white is gonna. Okay, I think white wants to play this for the win.
But how? Maybe he doesn't see a clear way, and when you're low on time, yeah, I've seen stranger things happen than this.
So it's a draw. I thought that white probably was still slightly better, but we go back to this position, knight c6. Not sure if that was really necessary, but then again, the pawn on b5 needs to be pressured somehow.
Yeah. But why knight? I'm actually not a fan of this knight c6 move.
No,
because
you are.
You also had. No, I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
No, because can't you wait? Like, why do it now? If you have the move, you must also have it one move later. Let's say I go king g1 here.
All right, let's do this. So king g1, I'm gonna do something like knight c7.
King f2.
King f2, knight a6.
And now you go knight a6.
Yeah, but then again, there might be
rook b3. Yes.
There's no b4, right? The knight on a6 is under attack. And now I go king f8, king e3, king e7.
Knight c. Does it help? No, it does. Knight c6. Does it help?
Can I do this?
Well,
I don't know. Looks fun. So the idea is force some trades and the pawn on b5 drops, but black is not obliged to take it, of course. Just go back.
Yeah, now I really want to play king c5 here. Just, do a little jump like in checkers.
Yeah, but I think to be honest, this is a technical position which requires some time, right? You need to scrap something like 10, 15 minutes to properly play this out, because I had a feeling indeed white is better after knight c6. This was a very direct solution, and maybe slightly rushed. I'm not sure about that. Should we check some other games which finished? I believe we still have some time, something like how much time do we have? I think we have something like 11 minutes, right?
11 minutes before the next round starts. We can also try to ask the chat if there is a game that they would like to see, which they thought was interesting and they want us to go through. So let us know in the chat if there is a game that you want to see.
Right.
And then maybe we should take a look at the standings right now, because it is Vincent and Pragnanana who both are on 3 out of 3, our favorites for the tournament, as we talked about before the start. Then on 2.5, we have Christopher Yu and Aditya. And unfortunately, we actually do have 3 players who didn't score any points yet, but I know some of them also had a bye. And if we look, Team Kramnik is actually in front 14 points to 9.5. They do need to catch up with 27 points if they want to take over Team Polgar in the entire tour standings. So a lot of work to be done, but a 4.5 point lead is not the worst start. It's a great start if you really have to catch up.
Yeah, before the 4th round of the Julius Baer Chess Challenge, it seemed that Team Polgar has pretty much already secured the victory in the overall standings. They're going to be the ones traveling to Dubai to see the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Nepomniachtchi. And now Team Kramnik is fighting it back, still trying to hold on to this possibility to see this amazing match in live action. So I guess we are going to see. Let's select a game from the previous round.
Yeah, I think maybe we should see how Vincent
game, right?
By Charlie's game, how she broke through. We were looking at that at those opposite colored bishops. So let's see how it ended.
Yeah, so we left it about here. Yeah, after d4, knight f6, white played all of these great moves. Queen f3, exactly, keeping the queens on the board so that they attack at a king side with something like g4, g5 starts to look rather real.
And now f6.
Oh, this is beautiful. I mean,
pawns, they do not matter in these positions. And you know, bishop takes f6, queen f5 is just incredible. g6, the bishop on f6 would be hanging. So rook fd8 was played, having to give up the pawn on h7. But this is looking tough for black now.
Very, very tough, because white's attack is much stronger than whatever black has at a queen side. So Garifulina tried to hold it. f3. Okay, I guess the idea is to stop any 4 ideas from happening, and the pawn on f3 most likely cannot be taken. There's going to be some rook f1 issues here over the pawns on f7 and g6. So
I actually love f3. I just love it, because there's no e4, d3 opening up for the bishop. This is a very prophylactic move, just stopping all the opponent's ideas and making sure that your attack can go through without any problems.
Yeah, so far Vaishali has played a marvelous game. e4 was played by Garifulina, trying to somehow complicate the matters, because she needs to activate the bishop on g7 so that after d3, black can somehow try to get to the pawn on b2 and generate some counterplay. But Vaishali goes back, bishop d3.
If only she, after bishop takes e4, could have played d3 immediately, but that queen was hanging on c6. But if that was possible, you know, the game would still be going.
Yeah, queen c2 is a possibility. I mean, after king c2, maybe there would be some slight chance for something, some beautiful lines.
Yeah, this is This is nice.
Very nice game so far by Vaishali. So she played very calm, very positional game, protected everything just in time, and now this is complete desperation. Wonderful game by Vaishali. Well played.
Yeah, really, really well played. I loved f6 and I loved f3. All those pawn moves on the f file just seemed very, very nice in this game.
But to be honest, if we go back to this position, Black played, okay, bishop e7 apparently is a blunder, right? But what do you suggest?
Yeah, it's tough. g4, g5 is coming. And it could just be crushing if it lands on the board.
And something like h6 looks very scary because the h file is going to open. And something like a5, g5, there's totally a mate somewhere. Totally a mate.
Yes.
So
rook h8 is coming.
Here you go again.
And this is again, yeah.
A similar motive as in, I think it was Aditya Mittal's game against
Shujainer?
Shujainer, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
or
the first round.
Yes, I know exactly the game.
Okay, I think we have still time to cover another game.
Let's see how Vincent, he won that rook endgame.
He won the endgame against Olivia Kalbasa, and we left it, where did we leave it? About
here, yeah.
About here, yeah. So king f6 was played.
He went for my plan. I'm so happy now. He went for king e5 and f5, king d6. Why do I not have 2600?
Why are you not playing here?
Yes, I'm asking myself the same question.
Well, this is amazing plan. It looks very scary from Black's perspective because these pawns are very monstrous, but rook a8 is, wait, how does Black progress here? Just a second. It's not very clear because
pawns in the 5th rank.
It's not threatening with anything, but I mean, oh wow, check this out.
Yes.
It's a great wall of China, I think. Okay. So king d3, f4, and d8. I'm not sure if this was okay. This was not necessary. But let's imagine white does nothing and play something like f3. How is this game gonna finish? I'm very curious. g4. I'm just doing. Maybe it's a Zugzwang. Is it a Zugzwang? Because rook a7 is gonna be king b6.
But let's say king c3.
Okay.
Maybe white is gonna end up in how about h4 instead?
For white?
For black after king c3.
G4, king c3,
h4.
So
if you take, I want to go h3.
Oh, this is
f3,
nice.
Yeah.
This is nice. So maybe I don't know what to make of this position. White will have to sacrifice the pawn on the 8 and play rook f7.
But
so
those three connected passed pawns.
But
Don't
this
they look very scary?
is a very interesting endgame. I mean, I tell you honestly. So I guess for Vincent, he simply didn't have a choice here, right? Because you simply don't have a choice. You simply go here. You hope that things are gonna go work for you. Otherwise, what else do you do here? Because white is gonna push forward the a pawn, so he has to do this. He has to do all of this, and and now the question is, what should white do?
But I mean, are you sad with black here? I can't imagine that you get this this position and then you're unhappy.
I don't know.
With black?
I don't know. I'll tell you honestly.
Those
I don't know,
white pawns just look incredible.
Yeah, but the pawn on a6 and d7 as well look very menacing. But maybe it's some sort of a incredible Zugzwang. So that's why Olivia gave it up right away.
Yeah.
And those pawns.
They were rolling.
Yeah, now this is winning. Yeah.
The king is just too active.
It's 3 versus 3, but those monstrous pawns in the center. Wow, what a game! Very powerful game.
Mate is unstoppable.
Really impressive game. So I believe we have still a couple of minutes. Very quickly.
And
Let's
just
do a
before
quick
the
break.
start of the next round, we will have the quickest break in all of eternity, and we hope to see you all here back as to not miss any action.
Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself.
Goes to f7, then there is still
Hours on g4. So after king to f6 and king to f2.
Tenemos el rey ahí n8 un poco mal, no podemos enrocar corto.
Y también se puede hacer, por ejemplo, alfil g4.
Защиту. Но пока что они этого не делают. Играют ферзь d2, рокировка и теперь играют c4.
Thank you so much for the lessons.
Gracias por las clases.
Gracias por las clases.
And we are back. And we're back with the fourth round of Hou Yifan Chess Challenge. With you is Ellen, Frederica, Nilssen, and me, Arturs Neiksans. We are your hosts for today's Julius Baer Chess Challenge, the fourth stage.
And we are off with the fourth round here in front of us. As you can see in about 2 seconds, I think we have the game between Vincent Kamer and Gunay Mamadzada. This is an important game, not only for the standings, but also for the confidence of Mamadzada. She started with 0 out of 2. She did have a bye, because every round we have one player who has a bye, and she needs to win this game. But Vincent, he also wants to win this game because he sees that she hasn't done very well, and he desperately wants to get those 4 out of 4, as he is right now in shared first place with Pragnanana. I think we should stick to this game. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do this, absolutely. And very quickly, I want to mention that this is a very, very tricky order of the moves. I'm not really surprised to see that Vincent is playing it, having such a top coach as Petr Leko. The idea of this sort of funny-looking e3, it's a very, very tricky idea, because I think the idea why white doesn't play c4 right away is that black has a very powerful response d4. And now any e3, knight c6, I believe that the modern theory says that black is doing very much fine here. So nothing really to be afraid of. So that's why white normally starts with e3 if he's going after the c4 ideas. And now if black plays something like c5, now white could actually play a funny gambit like this. So with the idea that after the trade, white gets a very powerful pawn formation in the center, followed by a3, bishop d3, and legends even approve it. So as far as I know.
Almost like a Blumenfeld reversed colors with a tempo more.
I was afraid to mention what it is. Yeah, I think it was Blumenfeld. Yeah, I didn't really remember the title of the opening. And now they got some kind of semi-Slav with the inclusion of d4. And black cannot easily play bishop g4 or bishop f5, which is one of the typical ideas in d5 c6 setups, because let's say after c takes queen b3. Now black experiences some real issues to protect the pawn on b7, queen c7, knight e5 drops the pawn. So that's, at least in theory, I think.
Yeah, this would be big trouble.
Right. So instead, b3, bishop b2 has been played. Now e5 is played. I think the idea of c takes on d5 is that after c takes, knight b5, white wins the bishop on d6. This still looks as a theory here. Haven't really followed it lately.
Vincent is not gonna go d4 and try to get some kind of reversed French here. Knight b5 is a better move, just trying to get the bishop there. And that bishop on b2 can be real scary later in the game.
Yes, indeed. So let's say after knight e6, queen d6, I think bishop b5 probably is going to be played. I think so. Looks very natural. Let's imagine if black plays e4. So now that bishop on b2, let's say, I don't know, something like
it's perfect.
Yeah, something like a castle, takes, and I'm going to remove this knight at some point, and there's a big attack somewhere, I don't know where.
And d3 trying to open up the center once you get your king to safety. Just having to be careful not to get mated is the only thing.
Yep, and I think... I'm sorry?
Yeah, I just wanted to read out a lot of comments in the chat, because the games today, they just seem so crazy and we have so much action. And then there's a comment, where are the Berlin draws when we need them?
Are you bored because you're not seeing any Berlin draws? Actually, I don't think this is something which is never, ever going to happen in these games. Never. I mean queen e4, queen e4, queen e4, queen e4.
Definitely not.
Then there's the infamous Grunfeld draw, right? Yeah,
they're here to play.
Right. Okay, they're definitely here to play. And the question is, Vincent now is taking his time thinking about his opportunities here. I think d4. Yeah, I wanted to go back instead of the bishop b5 and explain why d4 is not really such a great choice, because after e4, knight e5, now this bishop on b2 is essentially staring at his own pawn on d4, right? So not maybe the best choice. I don't know really, but bishop e5 is played by Vincent. And now the question is, what do you do against the pressure of the pawn on e5?
Well, I did like this this pawn to e4. I didn't see many other ways for black to do this. Maybe bishop g4, with the point that bishop takes e5. No, I can't even play queen takes e5.
Oh wait, it's a free pawn, right?
Yeah, because I wanted to play queen takes e5, but knight e5, bishop d1, and I'm actually in huge trouble here.
Or rook d1. Yeah, there's a pin. Yeah, there's a pin.
Also taking on c6 first instead of on d1, it's terrible, absolutely terrible. So e4, I guess, is the move.
All right. So after bishop b5, I'm not sure really, because I'm thinking, is there room for some kind of a gambit? I have to apologize. I'm always looking for some kind of gambit. So can I play d4?
Ooh. Okay, and your point is, if I take...
I'm gonna find it just a second. So after he takes on e4, I wanted to play something like e4. So the idea was to close the bishop on b2. So this is a positional pawn sacrifice. Not necessarily trying to win back the pawn on d4. And after knight e5, I wanted to play short castle. Is this good?
I don't know, but those d-pawns they can look weak. But instead she went knight d7. This seems a bit passive to me. What do you think?
After bishop b5, knight d7.
Yeah,
that's very okay, not sure how very passive, but yeah, indeed it closes the bishop on c8. I like it from white's perspective, definitely. So something easy like rook c1 is a move already. A rook c1, let's say a6. I need to get rid of this bishop here, probably. Takes, queen c2.
Oh, if only white could take that dark squared bishop and just place it on c5, just trying to get some control over those dark squares. But also, I see bishop b7, queen f5, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going after the pawn. But you know, Ellen, I'm thinking about this entire approach for Gunay. Why she played 97? Maybe it's a bit passive move, but I think her idea is to play f6 at some point in order to counter this white's bishop's activity. It's going to be staring at the wall of black pawns.
Yeah. So, and trying to break it up with f4 is a move from another world. I don't think that will happen in this point of time. Maybe in 200 years when chess has been completely redefined. But queen c1.
Oh,
also with some multi-purpose, looking at bishop a3 ideas.
I love this move. I mean, bishop a3 is a huge threat. And how do you play here? Definitely not short castle, right? Short castle looks extremely dangerous.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Can I play something like...
If going with your idea of f6?
f6,
is it
bishop
insane?
a3.
Queen e6? No, you know what? No, I don't. I blunder if I do that.
Where did you blunder?
I wanted to go queen c5 instead of f6, but the pawn on e5 is still hanging.
Queen c5 drops the queen, I think.
Oh no, I meant instead of f6. So
instead of f6, okay. Oh, I
but
see.
the pawn on e5 is just a problem. So
Yep.
I'm gonna stick to f6.
Yeah, so f6, bishop a3. Can I play knight b4 because it's not so easy for white to try to capitalize on this weakness.
If queen c3, you want to go a5.
Yeah, that was my idea.
Yeah, and then I'm liking it more and more for black. If black gets to castle,
Rook c1 and castle. So
maybe do I have knight 6 a2? No, the queen on d6 isn't protected. I don't have knight 6
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I play something like short castle, I had some very deep idea to play queen c7, trying to capitalize on the fact that black still hasn't finished the development, right? So the bishop on c8 is unattended. I like this actually. And f6 is actually on the board. f6 is on the board, so I think that's why Mamadzada played 97, of course, in the first place, and now Vincent is looking at this. This is a very forced line. Bishop a3, knight b4, queen c3, a5. He sees already this.
Yeah, but he went castles, and she went king f7.
Okay.
This is crazy stuff, and they are both going quite well. I wouldn't say quite down on time, but considering it's only move 12, they are down on time here.
I think Mamadzada's idea is meet bishop a3 with queen e6, your move which you suggested before, right? To hide the queen away, and maybe can we get romantic chess here? Something like g5, g4. Can I do this at some point?
I thought you were gonna say h5 and
maybe
king
h5.
g6 or something.
Okay.
Knight h4. Looking at those weak light squares, maybe.
Plus f4, I think, is a big threat. f4 trying to open the f file because now the black king is up faced at the f file. And I think what makes Vincent really special, right? I mean, he's only 16 years old, already playing very mature chess. He immediately feels those moments, right? I mean, the opponent has maybe made not the best move because king f7 is something which I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure if this would be the top choice, at least for me, but he immediately feels that moment that I can go for this, right? Like knight h4, f4, feel this moment and causing problems for the opponent right away.
Yeah, definitely. There are some huge development problems for black here. And I think she's also very uncomfortable, not happy with her position. I can't imagine that this was what she hoped for with the black pieces.
Yeah, now Knight of 8 is played, and I think I suggest to switch between another game, because this is indeed a very, very exciting game, but still it's, can I dare to say, opening phase? I mean, I know it's not an opening phase, but sort of an opening phase, right?
Yeah, let's switch to another game. I have a feeling that there might have been a missed opportunity in the game Aditya versus a Wonder. I think Aditya had a very good chance to maybe take home the full point.
All right, let's check this. What do you think this moment was? Which move?
Move 27 for white.
Already 27. Okay, so
yeah, it's long ahead in the future here.
All right, so we have some sort of a King's Indian. Queen b6. White definitely is in a driving seat here, enjoying a very good position right after the opening. Not out of good live here. Maybe very quickly I'll mention, not out of good live here. I wonder played Queen b6 because the king is looking pretty weak. Although it doubles the pawn structure, the queen side, black needs to escape this. So, oh dear, there's so many weaknesses. So many
weaknesses in the black camp here.
Yeah, so far a wonderful game by Mittal. Rook e6, knight g8, knight f5, rook f4.
And here
is there sacrifice?
I think there was rook takes e7 here. With the point knight takes e7, knight takes d6.
But the knight defends it.
Yeah, but the d pawn isn't it running?
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah, because so, you can't. If you could go to e8, then it would be nice, and you could stop the pawn. But after this, I'm not sure you can. So d6, and the pawn is, you have to take the pawn now, and the rook in game is very, very good for white.
You know, Ellen, this is an amazing shot indeed, but I can tell you this, it's so easy to walk past this, right? So the typical human mind works like this, right? You see, oh, there's rook e7, you think, obviously, I think he saw the idea, right? But after knight e6, he thinks, okay, the knight defends, the rook on c8, okay, I'm not simply calculating this, so you simply drop it. But the thing is, you just should calculate 2 moves further.
But it's also dangerous because you can be scared of miscalculating, because it's a long variation, and as they say, long variation, wrong variation. So even if you get that far in your calculations, and the time control is already short, so yeah, it's very very difficult. Understandable that Aditya missed it, but a great opportunity nevertheless.
Indeed.
But I'm beginning to like black's position more and more, because if white can take advantage of those weak pawns, then it seems the pieces are more looking pretty, and that rook on c2 is so active, attacking the pawn on b2.
Now the question is, I wanted really to mention, can white afford to play something like rook e2, but probably not, right? Take, knight f6. Now this pawn on d5 actually becomes a liability. I mean, this is something that white needs to defend. So that's why Mittal played knight h6. And
but I'm wondering why he went to f8 here instead of f7.
He doesn't want to draw.
Oh.
He doesn't want to draw. I think that's the answer. So after rook h6, he keeps the option to keep the game alive. After rook b2, rook h7.
So that the pawn isn't hanging with check.
Yeah, but is this a good idea? Just a second.
Well, I don't know. Rook d2 is might be a threat here.
I don't know. I have a feeling that if those connected pawns start to run at the king side, the pawn on d5 will be unimportant. But then again, the b5 pawn is going to run forward. So let's say h4, b5.
I want to go rook d2 first. No. After h5, I definitely want to go rook d2. Because not only do I want to win the pawn, but I want to get my rook back in the defense.
Okay. And if I try to push it,
I take.
and push it. I don't know how far I'm pushing it really. Maybe the king already is here to defend everything. Maybe there's nothing really.
Yeah, I want to go b5.
Yeah, this is what I'm afraid of. At some point, you're gonna run b5, and I don't know. But this didn't happen.
Rook e2. How's the pawn in game? No, it's bad for black. Never mind.
Yeah, it's bad for black. These
yeah,
are
it should be.
weaknesses.
Yeah, it's bad for black.
And rook d1. Now
but this was clever. How do you protect the d5 pawn?
Wait, did he blunder that?
He must have.
Why didn't he play rook e1? Maybe there's a pawn endgame he cannot go to. That is his idea.
Oh, and this is one tempo faster when the king is on e1 than when it's on e2.
Right, but can I still try to run it to c4?
Let's say b5.
Yep, I know this pawn is running somewhere. Yeah. I don't know.
And then you shoulder the king away.
Somehow, but still, yeah, king b4, king d4, king b3,
king d3. Yes.
And I can still try to do this. There's more shouldering coming.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's nice. Very nice technique by the American grandmaster. So he tricked him.
He did trick him. But how is the rook in game even after this? So it's 5 against 4, but the b pawns are doubled. The d and e pawns are connected passers. Do you think this is a matter of technique?
I don't know. I have a feeling that the white should have decent chances to save this.
Okay.
Because rook endgames are extremely tricky. I still remember a very nice quote by a friend of mine, a fellow grandmaster who unfortunately passed away several years ago. Aloysius Kveniewski said, every single rook endgame with the extra pawn is a draw, and every single rook endgame with equal material is winning. I love this quote. Maybe he was paraphrasing somebody else, but I remember it. And indeed, so white has the extra pawn, but all that matters is your king's and rook's activity. And white's king and rook, they're very active.
Yes.
So
the king can easily go into the center of the board. And the rook is doing well on c2 also. Yeah. Do you want to try to switch to another game while we still have some time?
Let's do it.
Is there anyone you want to see, or?
I'm not seeing all of the positions at the moment. I can try to choose randomly, maybe somebody we haven't followed so far, not too much, right? Because we want to cover every single game, because I imagine there's fans for every player, there's families watching how they're playing. So definitely we want to cover every single player as much as we can. Maybe Luke Mendonca against Volodar Murzin, right? I think those two players we haven't followed too much.
Let's take those.
Here, what is happening? It looks about equalish. All right. I like sort of white's position. So
you like white's position here. I like the passed c pawn and the pressure against the a2 pawn.
No, but I'm looking at this endgame and I'm thinking that this is something where black needs to be sort of careful. Of course, he has the passed pawn, but I'm thinking if I'm going to position the bishop here on b3, play something like g3, h4, those pawns might be a weakness in the endgame, and the queen and the bishop could be annoyance.
Okay.
But okay, and the c pawn is the passed pawn.
Let's say I go, bishop b3 and queen takes g6. Could have been a problem. So therefore, king f8 was played, just walking out of all of this so that it would never happen. Because I wanted to play b5 and c5, but I saw that it could be some trouble maybe.
Yep.
So let's say b5 now.
All right, let's do this. So b5, bishop b3, a c5. All right.
Ooh, you said that like you didn't like it. I want to go c4.
You want to close
Yeah.
my bishop with c4, huh? That's a
I
nasty
do.
attack. All right. And what can I do here? Can I try to somehow use the fact that your queen is disconnected from the game and I want to do something like
Queen d1,
queen d1, king e7,
queen d.
and there's nothing, right? Queen d5,
Yeah.
c4. I'm back for a draw.
Back for a draw, queen e5, knight e6, and there's not even any more checks.
There's not even a draw, right?
Yeah.
All right. Not so simple. Not so simple. But I think actually b5 is a fine move. But the thing is, after bishop b3, queen d6 is necessary sort of to keep the position together.
Mm-hmm. And
now c5 is coming.
yeah. If a4, b. A4?
You want to play b4?
I don't know. If I can't get c4, I'm not playing b4. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand this position. I think this is a bit tricky for black to play, because I don't think black is playing this for the win, to be honest. I mean,
really?
With the queens on the board. Because if I'm going to play something like bishop b3, bishop c4, king g2, h4, queen e4, those pawns, those pawns on the light squares, I think they could be causing some issues. But then again, how is white ever going to try to play this for the win?
Yeah,
I guess it's just
I couldn't really see how black was supposed to be worse, but I like how you're pointing out the f7 and g6 pawn as potential weaknesses. And actually, Volodar, he did go for c5 immediately, not retreating with the queen. He wants action now. He doesn't want to get smothered.
Yeah,
queen d3.
This is actually the line we were following before, and I think I read in the chat you're very sharp today, Ellen. You're just seeing those lines before they are played. I mean, I'm guessing. I still need to practice, but you're very spot on, right?
Maybe I'm just guessing well. And we do have a result in the Kamer game, and he goes to 4 out of 4 here in the Hou Yifan challenge
against Mamadada Gunai, right?
Yes, he is. He's putting some real pressure on his fellow youngsters.
Yep, indeed. So Vincent is on fire here. This game we are going to definitely follow after all of the live games will be finished, but maybe let's use this opportunity and still try to switch to one more game which we haven't seen just yet. Any brilliant suggestions?
We haven't seen Teklov a lot, I think. Yeah, Teklov against Ting Shi.
Pavel Teklov is playing against Li Tingzhi. Li Tingzhi had a terrible start. How did she play in the third round? Because she was having 0 out of 2.
She made a draw against Mittal in the third round.
Right. Okay, so she's half a point out of 3. Not really great start. Now, this position
is a mess.
And they're so low on the clock, something like...
Oh, I didn't even see. This is some high pressure. Do you have to go rook d4 here to not lose the d3 pawn?
I think d3 pawn is not yet under attack because there's rook takes on e7 intermezzo.
That's clever. So maybe... Okay, Pavel went bishop g3. Oh, but bishop c5, that's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a nice one on the pawn on
But queen h6, yes?
Queen h6, h5, going for the mate.
Yeah.
I think usually in these time troubles, everything is deciding whichever side is easier to play. And usually if you have the initiative, if you have some threats, it's difficult to hold this, even if you have a great position. So white has the initiative here. Clearly he has the initiative here. White is pressing. The pawn on d3 doesn't matter. You're having some ghosts. You're seeing some ghosts from black's perspective. Some rook c7, some queen e5, h6 ideas, some very scary.
I would be so scared if I was black here. There's so many like queen b8 and rook c8 ideas, and now all sorts of mates on h7 after some queen h4. Yeah, queen h4 is played. Maybe rook d7 to cover the 7th rank. Bishop
Yep.
g7 instead. Oh, but rook e8 is coming. Isn't that dangerous? There's also sometimes rook takes g7 and bishop e5. I would be so scared. Also, if the queen goes to the wrong place, queen c4, check.
Very difficult to make a move here. It just takes one blunder and that's it.
It takes
But
one blunder.
still, Li Tingzhi is holding this.
Queen f6.
Queen f6,
Just
queen
forward.
f7.
Queen f7, yeah. And then maybe queen c6.
But on the bright side for Chinese fans, if Li Tingzhi somehow manages to hold this and, for example, trade queens, she simply has the extra pawn, right? So, and there we go.
Oh, and a queen trade. Oh,
There's
how
a queen
come?
trade. This is
Why?
exactly what I told you.
Queen h7 was the threat. What?
What just happened there? Oh my god, mouse slip. Is that a mouse slip?
Oh, it has to be. It has to be. And he looked very upset on the camera.
Oh,
that is a shame. That is a shame. But Li Tingzhi, she strikes back with a win. Great to see her getting some more points. And saying that Praggnanandhaa also did win his game against Sokolovsky. So both Kamer and Praggnanandhaa, they are playing hand in hand. 4 out of 4 points after these first 4 rounds. Not only did Praggnanandhaa win, his sister Vaishali also got a win with the black pieces against Daggubati, who's also having a tough tournament right now with 0 out of 3. He did have a bye in the 3rd round.
All right. Maybe let's go back very quickly to the same game of Luke Mendonca against Volodymyr Murzin. Let's see who was right. I tried to claim that White is having some chances in the endgame, but the C pawn is still there. It's still a pass pawn. G4.
Wow.
I think this is wrong. This is wrong. G4,
Putting the
G5?
pawns on the light squares does not seem like the best strategy when you have the light squared bishop here.
Yeah, I was expecting White to play something like H4 to fix those whites at the light squares.
C3. Before you were mentioning how it's easier to play the side with the initiative, and especially when you're low on time. And I like C3 here, trying to put some pressure on White, saying that even if you take my pawn on B5, queen C5, and that pawn can be really annoying for you to deal with.
Maybe even C2 right away, because the bishop on D5 is under attack.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, now definitely Black has managed to take over the game, because we were looking at this position something like 10-15 moves ago. This is a dream position for Black. White didn't manage to play G3, H4, fix those pawns at the light squares. On the contrary, Black played himself G5 and fixed those white pawns on the light squares. And the pawn is on C3, so this is definitely a great position for the young Russian player.
G6, king f6 with the plan of going to G7 and having a more secure king. I love it. I love it. It's looking great. And definitely the black pieces are more easy to play here, I think. And the knight is just so tricky when you're low on time. I could imagine a knight fork to end the game.
Now the question is how exactly White makes a draw here. So queen d2 at some point, I'm pretty sure is going to happen. Let's say White just sits and does nothing. Let's say king g2, king g1, king g2, king g1. What's your plan?
Knight c7, knight b5, knight a3.
That answers the question.
Yes.
All right, so knight c7, knight b5, knight a3, get rid of this bishop on c2, maybe transpose to the queen endgame, and then queen b4, queen b2.
And run with
That's
the
a great
pawn.
Queen c6.
Just giving a little check.
A little
But they're
check.
playing. Oh, that is dangerous. King f8. What is that?
There was a check on queen h1, right? Was there not? Maybe there
Yeah,
was.
I think he didn't want to lose the c3 pawn by taking the pawn on h3.
But this was a second pawn on g4. That's a check. I didn't see.
Oh, it's also a check. Yes.
That's a check. I don't see so far.
But he's actually gone for queen h2 now. So that was why he went king f8, just to stop this queen takes c3 check. And he wants both the h3 and the g4 pawn. But
I mean, got it
I don't know.
anyway.
I like to see. I thought the c3 pawn was worth an extra pawn.
Yeah, now we got it anyway, the same game. So 3 versus 2 at a king side.
But do you think this is a better version for black than what was before?
Yeah, because we have a pawn.
Yeah, but the pawn on c3.
You have the great respect for the passer, right?
Yeah, I had a great respect, and I also wanted to say that the h3 and g4 pawn, they were weak indefinitely. There was not much to do about them.
Yep.
And definitely now, I know Greenland games are tricky, but I liked it better before. Maybe objectively, I'm not sure, but I liked it better before.
Okay. I mean, I like black's choice, but I would have tried to keep the knight somehow over the board. It didn't happen though. Maybe very quickly, going to back that moment when black won the pawn, he took on g4. I would try to keep this knight somehow alive, but maybe it's impossible. Maybe it's just a dream. Yeah, I guess it's impossible. So yeah, g4. Now Mersen's idea was to play knight g5 and fight for those weaknesses on e4 and f3. It didn't happen. Yeah, okay. But this position can be played forever.
Yes, this position can be played forever. And especially when you're low on time, maybe your winning chances are greater.
Oh, it's very simple here. Either white is going to try, either white is going to find perpetual check, or black is going to trade queens. It's difficult to imagine some kind of right setup for white, because naturally the king has to be on g1. How do you get the king on g1? Any pawn endgame should be lost by default. Extremely unpleasant, because black can play this here and there, here and there. Every single move is plus 5 seconds, so it's a known strategy, accumulate time. I think Mersen is going to win this.
And Donker, he's going low on time on every single moves he makes. He's going below 5 seconds.
I wanted to show this moment. I was thinking about queen f3 and g3. Maybe I can transpose to some kind of a pawn endgame. Let's say g3, take here. Okay, but it's a draw, I guess. I had some funny ideas that I can try to win this in a pawn endgame, but I guess not.
Maybe you can. In your position, there was. Yeah, I know there's a lot happening. I just thought that maybe you did have this f5 and then king h3, g5, g4. Could be winning, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But with such little time, maybe it's not something you want to do to your position.
Right. This position has the potential to follow at least 200 moves.
And it is also our last game of the round, actually. All the other games have finished. And we only see one draw this game. One draw this round. There are so much fighting spirit. And G3 is coming.
You think?
Don't you?
I don't know. I don't know if Mersen is ready yet to do it.
He's calculating it. He's calculating it.
He's definitely calculating. But are you sure you have to do this? I'm not. 3, 2, 1 seconds. I mean, the clock is ticking. He plays it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, he went. Oh, but he did play it. I think we're going to see it. King G4, King G2, F5, King F2, King H3. Oh, he starts with King F5. Ah, clever, taking the longer position here. And if King F2, then what does he do? Then maybe he goes King G4.
Very, very tricky position. Yeah, so maybe Mersen decided, okay, this is what? King G2?
King G2.
I don't like this. King
F2.
King
E4. But why didn't he go King G4? What was the point of going this way? But can you go G4?
Yep. And King D3, King F3, King
D2.
Oh
no.
Was there a
Why
win?
did he? Yes. With your F5 and King G4?
Listen, this is a super tricky endgame. So actually, I also felt that a g3 probably has to be played at some point. And from the white's perspective, it's very difficult to understand. Is it king g2? Is it king f2? Is it king e2? Because maybe one of them is a draw, one of them is a losing, one of them is I don't know what, right? Very tricky endgame. Okay, now I believe it's a draw.
I think it's going to be a draw. Can I just can we just show how I think it was winning?
Let's do it.
Because I think here after king f5, king g2. See, I wanted to go after king g. I wanted to go king g4 here.
Okay, I also thought about king g4, but there you need to also calculate what is happening after e4.
Yeah, and then g5.
And
king
this
h3.
is your idea here.
And
here.
I want to go because now I can play with the. Oh, g4 I can't do because of king f4.
G4 is king f4. Yeah, I also saw this. I'm not sure, especially when calculating on seconds. I'm not sure. Maybe king h2, king g4,
and king g2.
Yeah, this is a draw.
Takes. Oh yeah.
Is it a draw? Okay, black is in time. Yeah, I think black is in time.
And how was it winning?
I don't know how it's winning. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't sure about this. I tell you honestly, I wasn't sure about this g3. So Nilssen decided to make this chance to try this. I think he still could have played it. I mean, a couple of moves here and there, and find the right moment to play g3. Okay. So maybe there was a win at some point, but still, I think Luke Mendonca played really
so this was great defense. Yeah, great defense. Also playing the g4 move.
Right. Okay,
so maybe we should take a look at the standings after this fourth round. And we see them right here. So as said before, Vincent and Prague, they are on 4 out of 4. And Aditya Mittal, he is the only player who's managed to get 3 points. Then we have the youngest GM in history, followed by the Indian Mendonca and Vaishali, as well as Christopher Yu in 4th to 7th place. Awander Liang, Volodar, and Pavel, they are on 50%. And Lysing Shi, Shujiner, Gary Felina, Shulbasa, Sokolovsky, Dagupati, and Mamad Sada, all in the lower end of the scoreboard here. We also see that Team Kramnik on 18.5 points. They do have 5.5 points more than Team Polgar. But will it be enough to take over them in the overall team standings, with Team Polgar on 260.5 points to Team Kramnik's 234, meaning that Team Kramnik, they need to scrape together a 21 points more than Team Polgar. So definitely a long way to go. Seems like it's possible. What do you think?
Yep. Everything definitely is possible. So we have one more final round for today. It's round 5, because again, let me remind you of the schedule of the Hou Yifan challenge. It's played from the September 18 up to 21. Every single day, the players are playing approximately 4 or 5 rounds. In total, 17 rounds of the round robin tournament. All the players are playing against each other. While we have a couple of minutes, very quickly, let's check, maybe did we miss something from the previous games? Maybe let's check very quickly, as promised, Vincent's win against Gunay Mamadzada. We left it right after knight h4, I think. So I'm going to try to find this moment here. And knight h4 played brilliant move. I tried to play f4, and we didn't see all of this. Oh, wow, knight f3. What do you think about this, Ellen? Do you like this move? Takes knight g5 check. The knight comes back to the game.
F3 just going back. Oh.
I think the idea
But
is
I think even with or without a pawn, this looks beautiful.
Yeah, but I think the idea is of after rook takes on f4 is black gonna play g5. So knight f3 sort of stops this idea. Knight g6, knight e4. Oh, what? Queen c7.
But this looks like a train wreck for black. Look at that rook on h8. Just completely closed in. It almost looks like a Fischer random position. And if you could just castle now, then you could breathe a little bit more. But
can I throw the rook over?
Not quite possible.
Probably. I'm not. It's under attack. I cannot do it. So yeah, wonderful game so far. On queen f4. Now the knight on g6 is pinned. Super game. I mean,
and
what can I say?
Like Vincent is rook e7. This is beautiful. Rook e8 also. Wait, can we go back and take a look at this rook e8? Rook takes e8 because here the queen is under attack. So after rook takes e8, bishop takes f8 would be a problem.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the bishop on a3 is attacking the queen on the face, so that's why after rook e8 you have to play queen takes on a3.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where exactly Mamadzada misplayed it. Maybe it was simply Kimmer's super play here.
Well, I think the opening went wrong.
Yeah, but it's not like lost. I think usually you know how these things do. Probably you know it as well. Very well, Ellen, is that usually the problems that accumulate, right? It's not with some little things, some annoyances, it just accumulates. Now you have some real issues. Now you have to calculate, you're seeing ghosts, then you make a blunder, boom, that's it, you're gone, right? So that's how it goes at the professional level, right? Just some small things, they sum it up and that's it. Okay, I think we are about to see the fifth round, maybe very quickly
and
choose a game.
I think we
Yep.
Yeah, we do have.
All right. I'm gonna select then the next game from the final round. Let me see who is a possibility from the leaders. Maybe we haven't really seen Christopher Wojin in action, I believe. Now this is a game I would like to follow, right? So here very quickly let's see what happened in the game between Christopher Wojin against Vincent Kimmer. He is the favorite in the overall rankings, currently one of the leaders with 4 out of 4. Knight f3 and d3. This is super tricky. Ellen, what do you think about this? Do you know this line? Okay.
I know nothing about the Caro-Kann whatsoever. So this is I don't know the most about this, but here in this endgame, I would imagine that white plays for some c3 and king c2, trying to get the king to safety there.
This is a very tricky line. I noticed. I just find it a bit funny is that usually the idea here is that white goes for some kind of a sort of favorable endgame right away, right? And I find it funny that it was played like Christopher Wojin. Why is that? I'll try to explain it. Because in the Russian school of chess, there's the saying, right? You take the youngsters to the endgame, right? And Christopher does it right away. So he's immediately going to the endgame right after the opening. So of course, I mean, it's half a joke, half of a truth, but he is feeling confident about endgame right after the opening. So I just find it a little bit funny.
I don't know if you know this, but Christopher Yu, as far as I know, he's actually a big name in endgame studies. So I am sure that he has studied so many endgames, and this could very well be one of the phases of the game where he feels the most comfortable. So, why not go for an endgame directly if this is where you really excel and where you know your stuff?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's an expert, of course, because chess is developing very quickly. There's just saying, right? That usually when experienced players playing against youngsters, usually the saying is we're trying to get into the end games, right? So I just see here the opposite. So supposedly the youngster is staying the end game.
Yeah,
So
I don't think you want to go into an end game against Christopher Yu. He has made some beautiful end game studies, even when he was younger. I'm not quite sure how young he is now, but I think he started composing when he was 10 years old or something.
All right. But position-wise, I'm not sure if this is really such a great position, because Winston's position seems very, very nice. I like it. So very quickly, I'll try to explain the idea behind this approach. Like you already mentioned, White wants to play something like c3, king c2, maybe knight e2, a4. So enjoying slightly better positioned pieces. And somehow 91, I think this is something you don't improvise over the board, right? I think this is a preparation.
It has to be. 91 looks too artificial to be made up.
Yeah, so 93. F5, very aggressive play by Kiemer. And actually that makes sense because the king on d1 is going to be under some fire. F5, knight f6, the bishop goes away, long castle. I like it.
For sure.
All right.
F5, very dynamic.
Yep, very dynamic. And some people think that you cannot play active chess, exciting chess with the queens off the board. Well, you can do it. Yeah, Winston is showing you how to do it. The isolated pawn on e5, not a big deal. Black is going to get a huge chunks of piece activity. I think we are definitely going to come back to this game. So maybe let's check who else is playing here.
Yes. I think you should pick a game. I have had a bit of connection issues, so I don't currently have the games up and able to see them. I've closed those tabs.
All right. Let me try to select the game, maybe Prague. Yeah, Prague. I don't think we have seen him at all, right? Have we? Maybe against his sister at the opening phase. So let's go to Prague's game against Li Tingji.
And what is going on here? A bishop on f6 hanging, but not really hanging because of king e7 trapping the rook. That is beautiful.
I just got to show this just to say, how did this happen? So very
knight, of course.
It's a knight. So this king b1 this is what I wanted to mention in the first round's game of Abhimanyu Mishra against I think it was against Li Tingji, by the way. And I wanted to mention this alternative plan of king b1 sacrificing the pawn on d5. This is not a blunder. This is a very known idea. But instead of bishop g5, I think bishop f2, I'm pretty sure bishop f2, bishop d3 was how White was usually playing this. But I mean, theory is moving forward. Anyway, so bishop g5, bishop e7, c4, this is probably still theory. Queen d6, takes, and knight a4. I mean, I just have to show this, right?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so this rook is stuck. Yeah, there's no rook b6, knight x and b6. The knight on b6 is actually doing something. Okay, yes. So if that is impossible, what do you do here? I guess something like c5? What do you do here?
I like c5 to eventually stop the black knight from coming to c5. After some rook c8, knight c5 would also close down the bishop on f1. But I might be a bit worried that c5, rook c8, and then then you can take on f6. Then you can take on f6 because the d6 square will be protected.
Yeah.
But bishop e7?
I want to mention that was my idea. I didn't even spot it, to be honest. I wanted to play c5 in order to activate the bishop, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, indeed, the bishop on f6 is still under attack. So what about king e7?
I was thinking maybe bishop e7. I want to win the pawn on c5.
Okay.
I want that one for myself. But I don't know if rook d5.
And rook c8.
Yeah, but draw, you say? I think you're right. Yes, I think this would be fairly fair to call a draw.
Yeah, looks super equalish. Everything is traded off. Now, indeed, the obstacle bishops are looking quite drawish. Instead,
bishop e2 was played.
And rook e2 and rook d8. Still sort of blundering the bishop on f6, which is not a blunder because king e7 and the rook is still trapped. Nothing has changed.
If you were playing over the board, you would just hope that your opponent's hand would just touch the bishop so that they'd have to capture it.
But it's quite funny, right? For how long this bishop is going to be under attack? Let's say I play rook d1, rook d6, rook d6. I'll just make some random move. I don't know, h4. You still cannot take it. Exactly. It's still king e7. Quite incredible. But on a serious note, after rook d8,
if rook d1, probably king e7.
Yeah, probably. Let's.
But then it's looking like it's going to, many pieces are going to be traded at least.
Rook d1, rook d6, rook d6, king e7. Now after c5, I mean, this is of course a huge decision. Can I play knight c5?
Rook f6. And if knight b3, then rook b6, knight c5, b4.
Yeah, this is good for white.
Yeah, I think so. The a6 pawn is also dropping here.
And there's no time to deliver the fork on c3, right? So there's a check. Something along the lines might actually happen. Okay, I was wrong. So instead of this...
rook d5 instead.
Just a second. What happened? Yeah, rook d5 happened.
What's the point of rook d5 after knight b6?
Knight b6
and rook c8. I want to put some pressure on the pawn.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if I play, okay, rook c5 is dangerous, right? This rook might be lost.
This rook might get trapped again.
Yeah, it's again to be trapped. Okay, I want to put it away. It's not like rook d1 with some ideas to play knight a5 to say hello to the queenside pawns.
Yes. Those typical knight f ideas. So here, knight a5, rook c7, b4. Oh, this could be scary for black, yeah.
You know, Ellen, I'm thinking that white is not fighting for anything here at the moment. I have a feeling because if black wants to make a draw, he's going to play rook d8. It's so simple, right? He wants to draw, he plays rook d8. He is in charge here because now this is a great position after the opening, at least I feel so. Maybe I'm wrong. But now it's really, the question is, what does Prague want to do, right? He could just make a draw because he's one of the leaders.
He wants to win. He wants imagine starting with 5 out of 5. He has to keep the pace with Vincent, and starting with 5 out of 5, that would be great for him, especially if he feels that he's not really running any risk by playing on here.
So 5 out of 5 definitely is better than 4.5 out of 5, right? Yeah, so yeah, something like.
And also, I think she hasn't been doing too well. So
although she just won the previous game against Yali Sokolovsky. Was it she,
but
right?
Is it? Doesn't she have 1.5 points?
Yeah, 1.5 points out of 4. She started 0 out of 2. Not really dream start for her. She got slightly lucky in the previous game. Not sure.
Oh yeah, with this rook e7 mouse chip, but I still feel that that Prague he's playing. He's not just making some draw here.
But the question is, would it add to your confidence? Mouse slip of your opponent? Probably not, right?
No, exactly.
It's like, this feeling. I mean, this happens. This is part of the sport. of online chess, and your opponents blunders terribly like that. It's like,
but you'd much rather sit there for a good 10 minutes grinding your opponent out in an endgame with a pawn more and feeling great about yourself after it with good technique.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, I think we have to switch the game. I'm pretty sure Prague is gonna still play this on. Maybe let's select...
I think so.
Yeah.
Rook c8 is on the board.
Let's select a game of Rook c8. So definitely Prague is gonna fight it out. Let's go to the end game of Christopher Wooden against Winston Kiemer. It was supposedly an endgame, and now it's not so much an endgame.
Well, it's a queenless middle game.
And white has a pawn, by the way. Winston sacrificed it.
I mentioned this c3, king c2, but Christopher, he's saying, no, that's not how I want my king to get to safety. It's staying on d1.
He grabbed the pawn, by the way.
Yeah, a pawn up, though.
A pawn up.
But a great bishop pair. Look at those bishops and those g5, f4 squares. I think black has tremendous compensation for this pawn. The white king is not safe.
Yeah, what is
black with the initiative? And look at the time. Christopher under 4 minutes.
Yeah, but then again, if white ever feels really dangerous in terms of his king's placement, he can always play moves like knight e3, right? I mean, knight e3 or bishop d3, and the king is safe. And maybe the big idea, the big picture here is for white to drop the pawn on f3 at some point and pressure the pawn on g7. The knight on h6 is under attack. So I don't know. Definitely black has a great compensation, but not more. I wouldn't say it's more, right? It's I love this expression, really. It's unclear. It's unclear. When you don't know what to say, you're just saying it's unclear, right? I mean, it's unclear.
One of the most used words in chess books.
Yeah, in chess books, exactly.
Yes.
It's unclear. So,
do you think he's playing knight f7 to try to get some h5 in? Oh, and by the way, what happens? Knight takes f7, bishop takes f7, bishop takes g7. Is it bishop g5?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. So
and
the
bishop c3?
Bishop d3, there should be something.
No, bishop c3?
Oh, bishop c3, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So bishop
c3. Then rook takes d2. Bishop takes d2, rook d8.
Does it even work? I'm not sure.
Takes d3.
With what? With knight, right?
Knight. Takes f2.
Yep.
I mean, go to f2.
No,
yep.
This is completely lost.
Yeah, this is, never mind me.
I don't know. I mean, this bishop g5 looks interesting. Okay, it wasn't played. It wasn't played. Now instead, after knight f7.
Knight d3. More safe. More safe.
Yeah, more safe. Not sure really. I mean, how good is this line? I think Winston's approach was this should be something, right? I mean, I'm gonna sacrifice the pawn on g7. Winston didn't blunder the pawn, right? It's quite obvious. That's a sacrifice. He sees, obviously, as far as the pawn on g7. He had some ideas of bishop g5. Not sure if he calculated it up to the very end because this is a rapid game. You just have to sometimes rely on your intuition.
I like the time advantage that he's keeping here, since they are going down on time. I really like that Vincent is keeping a little bit of an edge here, especially if he wants something more out of the game. I think it's very good to try to put some pressure on the opponent.
Indeed. Knight g5, rook f1.
Rook f8 here, maybe?
Yeah, but the pawn on g7 is still under attack. By the way, it's still there. It's still there. I don't know.
And there's not some. Okay, let's say I go rook f8, and you take.
I'm a pawn grabber. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, but I play rook f7, and I'm gonna take on f3.
Okay.
I'm not scared. I don't know. I don't know if I should take on d3 first. Oh, you want to take like that? No.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to give up the pawn on f3. So
okay, so if I take on f3, bishop f3, you can go to e2. That's a shame.
Take.
Yeah.
Take, yeah.
This was what I wanted, and I wanted to take. There's king e2.
Okay, doesn't work. So that's why he plays h5. He tries to activate all of his pieces. I guess the idea is after bishop g7 is to play rook h7. Now check this out. Oh wow.
The h2 pawn will be hanging also.
Yep. H
dynamic play.
Very dynamic play.
So what should I like this for black. I think I would be much more comfortable with the initiative and the pawn down here than I would be having to cling on to my squares and my pawns and everything. And bishop g7 is played.
And he takes it. I'm not
That's
sure.
dangerous.
I'm not sure if I would have gone for this. I think I was looking at the moment for this move h4. I was looking at this and trying to understand, can I even do this? So the idea is to play g5, close the position, still fix the pawn on g7, and keep the position closed. So it's, I don't know, I need a move. So like 96
need a move
and g5.
with the knight. 96, yes.
G5.
And knight d3.
Knight d3, bishop
knight
d3.
f4.
And now I can maybe take it on g7.
Or you have bishop f5 check.
Oh, check on bishop e5. This I didn't see. Yeah, this I didn't see. But anyway, there's his idea. He took on g7 and bishop e5. He's not giving up the pawn on h2. Aha.
Okay, so what should Vincent play here? He's 2 pawns down, but some initiative. Knight f7. Attacking the bishop. Not directly, but indirectly with taking... No? Is he even attacking the bishop?
I don't know. Is he even attacking? That's a very valid question because the knight on d3 is sort of defending. And if you remove it, rook at h7 is under.
Yeah.
So technically, no, he's not attacking. He's offering a trade.
But maybe he is because there's a pin on the d2 knight, which would be unpleasant.
Okay, bishop g3 is played. The safe move.
Safety, yes.
Yeah, safety.
This is the approach we've seen from Christopher in this game.
It's actually a very viable approach because he took one pawn. He
held on to it.
Yeah, he held on. He is building up the brick wall. Then he saw a second pawn. He took it. Then he is back building the brick wall. And for black, the question is, where exactly is your compensation? Because he has very active pieces. He's dancing around with the knights, etc. But white just is still there, and he has those 2 extra pawns. I don't know.
I can understand having 2 extra pawns is just great, but I can also understand if you're black and you're going into those kind of positions, it's just difficult thinking that you can be worse. Because you're just looking at your pieces, they're cooperating so beautifully. You see the f3 and g4 pawns are weak. You see weak dark squares. I can really understand why you would think I can't be worse here. I'm seeing all of these great opportunities for me. So I can completely understand Vincent's trail of thoughts. But let's see if he turns out to be right in his double pawn sacrifice here.
Yep. So bishop e4, more trades are coming in. And Christopher is down on the clock. The last minute is here, and it's getting increasingly more difficult to come up with the correct moves, right? Because the king is still in the Karm's way. There might be some tactical tricks. You're seeing ghosts left and right. Not easy.
And if you try to hide the king away, king c1, then bishop a3 is coming, and the king could be closed in, and that rook on a1 is not playing in the game.
Can I play rook f5? You just saw this move.
Rook f5. It's also mentioned in the chat with a double exclamation mark. What is this move?
The chat says, we are very equal. I just saw this move. I don't know. Is it possible? Takes. That's a fork, right?
Yeah.
It's fun.
F5.
I don't know.
Oh, he didn't play it. He played knight takes e4. But what a move! Maybe Vincent would have had to play knight takes e4.
Oh, but now this
But
is
now it's getting dangerous.
now this is getting dangerous. Yeah,
And you
something
go
like
rook, knight,
take.
and then rook is
Takes, check. Ah,
And
there's
now
no mate.
those-
There's no
but-
mate.
But those double G pawns, do they really count for 2 extra pawns?
I'm not even sure that Christopher didn't see this move. Maybe he even saw the move, but you need to make the safe moves in the time trouble, right? Because you're trying to avoid some spectacular moves which are difficult to calculate. You're trying to play the solid chess.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he saw all of that, but decided, okay, I'm going to trade off some pieces. I'm going to go for knight e4, king e2.
Yeah.
And,
Now bishop f5 check, I guess.
And now Vincent
He's
is fighting
threatening
for
the
the draw.
pawn on c2, though.
Oh, wait, the pawn on c2 is still under attack.
Yes.
So if White will manage to trade away the pair of rooks, he has excellent chances to win this, because the g-pawn at some point will simply start run forward, despite the fact that its opposite are bishops.
c3 is played.
c3, I guess, rook c2 next, right?
But Christopher only with 12 seconds left on the clock here. Oh, rook c2, that's cute. I like that move.
Rook f1 is going to be rook f2 check, king e4, no search for the mate. There should be a mate somewhere. I don't know. Maybe not. c4. Yeah, this is a move he didn't want to play. He just realized that after rook c2, there is no easy move for him, because the pawn on c3, rook c1 drops the pawn on a2, and after this one, you're just seeing ghosts. There might be a mate. There might be a mate, right? So I'm not going to calculate that. So that's why you play c4. Not out of good life.
So what should black play here? He goes for bishop d6, threatening rook c3 and takes on g3.
Yeah, that's very tricky. And now Christopher is down in the last seconds, but I don't think his position is really dangerous, is it?
The pawn on a2 now. And the pawn on b3 could be potentially weak.
Something like a5, a4 maybe. Try to establish something.
He goes
Rook
for rook d2. Oh, but can black try for some king b6, king a5, king b4?
Go after the pawn on b3. That's a great idea. I like it. Yeah, I like it, because
just moving on those dark squares. I want to play king b6 here.
Overall, I think I'm I'm sure I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. This is a very high level game. So Vincent sacrificed this one pawn. He sacrificed the second pawn. Christopher kept his head cool, accepted. Then he made some human mistakes along the way in time trouble. But this is a very, very high level tense game indeed.
Also under this pressure.
Yep.
The pressure of the clock, the pressure of the tournament. I mean, it's very, very nice to see. All I'm needing is that king b6, king a5, and then I am as happy as can be.
I don't think you're gonna get it. Yeah.
You don't think? No, but he got the pawn on g3 though. So material equality.
Now White is very active. So I guess rook e2 is going to be a draw. It looks sort of drawish already. Okay, I take it back. You take it back. I take it back. Yeah. So rook e2 is still a possibility. Now I think it's quite clear that Vincent is playing it for the win. His king is feeling more secure. There's a weakness on b3. The g pawn for White is not going anywhere.
Is he going to trade one pair of rooks? Do you think?
It depends if rook e7 doubling the rooks is a threat. Now he's calculating this. So he would love to keep it. Okay, but he decided just to keep it safe.
Maybe rook f3? He goes for a5?
3. I think also Vincent already is he's so young, right? Again, only 60 years old, but he is playing really such mature chess that he also keeps in mind. And I think every good player should keep in mind also the tournament standings, right? So okay, whatever, draw is fine, right? So you're not burning all the bridges.
Yeah, and that g-pawn is looking scary. Bishop c8 could have been a threat in some positions. The king now joining Do you think this is going to be a scenario where black gives up the dark squared bishop for the pawn, then tries to collect a pawn or two on the queen side, and suddenly it's going to be a miracle draw?
Wait.
How do you stop the pawn now?
How do you stop the pawn?
Check. King f5, just
King
to stop
f5,
bishop
rook
e5.
Yep. King f5. I think Winston just terribly misplayed it. Maybe this rook trade was not the best idea because now the g pawn is running forward. He misplayed something.
And Pragnanana won his game against Ting Shi, meaning that Prag is going to 5 out of 5 points here on the first day of the Hou Yifan challenge. I think he has to go bishop e5.
Bishop e5 is rook h5. It's lights out.
Oh, rook h5.
Yeah, you just eliminate the bishop on g7. I think that's it.
Oh, I think and Christopher plays it. Oh, I can sense some disappointment in Vincent's face. This is oof.
Now king d6, maybe some chances to hold this in an endgame. No, but this should be lost, completely lost, because black is never going to trade away those.
And it's the right corner. You know, there's not even a chance to play a4 or something. It is the right corner.
What?
But he's gonna
g7 right away. Oh, I didn't see this.
That's nice. Even better.
I was thinking about rook e5 and now g7. This is also, I believe, winning.
A disappointed Vincent losing to Christopher Yu.
Overpushed it, I think. But I mean, we have to give a lot of credit to Christopher, right? He kept his head cool in those complications and really, really high level game, which I felt probably should have finished with a draw. It did not. But maybe let's
very exciting game for sure. But we have some action going on many of the other boards.
Which game do you want to choose? There's, I believe, 1, 2, 3
It seems
games.
Mamatsara might be making a comeback in the tournament against Mishra. Let's take a look at that one.
Oh wow!
So Mamatsara, an exchange more and a pawn more. Dangerous pawn on g2. But how can it queen though?
All right. Rook c2. There's at least rook g3 check. That's it. That's the game. Rook g3 check. That's it.
Oh,
this
and then
game.
taking on g2. She took on g2 immediately. Wow.
Maybe that's
so if you take back, then the a pawn and the c pawn, they are running.
I think rook g3 check was just winning, but okay, she probably must have calculated that this
c4,
is
c5, a5, a6, a7. Or just starting with a5. Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, c5 now closes it. Amazing game.
This was very, very nice finishing touches from Mamatsara, who finally gets on the scoreboard as well. That's great to see.
Indeed, well played by Mamatsara. So congratulations by beating the currently the youngest grandmaster in the world. Bishop c5 is the final move. And now, as Mr. Shadows would say, right now you resigned.
And
now you resigned. But let's switch. Let's switch to.
We have 2 ongoing games. We have Shilbasa against Mendonca and Murtsin against Aditya Amital.
I see a weird position in Kielbasa's game against Mendonca, so let's go to this position.
This looks like some very nice dark square control and a piece.
Yeah, and it's completely winning for black. 2 pawns. The knight on c5 is not going anywhere.
Yeah. She tried to give up a piece in order to get some activity, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough here.
And this is the final game, by the way, the final live game. Now the king is, I wanted to say is going to come here.
But it's not yet.
It's not coming anywhere, yeah.
So let's see, how do you actually win this with black?
I think something like rook b3, knight e4, knight c3 at the right time. This should be a piece of cake. So maybe even rook b7, rook f7, then the king comes back.
Can you play rook b3 check now and take on c3 as the d6 pawn is not attacked?
Oh yeah, by the way, there's that also. You can just take it. And she resigns.
Yeah. Was that our last game of the day?
Yes, I believe that was the final game of today's fifth round, because today the players are playing first 5 rounds of the 17th round tournament of the Hou Yifan challenge, and maybe we can have a look at of today's results. Can you maybe read them out?
Yes. So we have Shu Jiner beating Dagubati. We have Sokolowski losing to Garifulina. Tingshi also taking a 0 against Pragnanana, who amazingly moved to 5 points out of 5 possible, and thereby having the sole lead after the first day of the Hou Yifan challenge. Wonder Liang with a draw against Pavel. Volodar beat Aditya Mittal. Olivia, as we just saw, she did lose to Mendonca. Mametsada finally getting on the scoreboard. Great to see, with a win against the youngest grandmaster in the world. And Christopher Yu also getting the win against Vincent Keimer, who before this round had 4 out of 4. And now dropping to second place is Vincent. Christopher Yu also pulled himself up to third place again, together with Mendonca, both on 3.5. Then we have Volodar and Aditya in 5th and 6th place. Mishra, Vaishali, Wonder, and Pavel in place from 7 to 10. Shu and Garifulina in 11th and 12th place. Tingshi, Shilvasa, Mametsada, Sokolowski, and Dagupati, who still needs to get on the scoreboard. We will send our love to him and hope that he managed to recover before tomorrow. As we also see Team Kramnik still in the lead after the first day here. Still not enough to take over in the final, in the overall standings, but they can hope to get those magic 27-point lead before the tournament is over, to go to the World Chess Championships in Dubai to watch Magnus Carlsen play against the challenger Jan Nepomniachtchi.
Who are you actually cheering for in the World Championship match, Ellen?
Oh, well, I have to cheer for my boss. I don't think I have many other options.
You can't even have a choice, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, indeed. I mean, I don't know myself. I'm cheering for a great match.
Yeah.
You're talking about, yeah, definitely. So I'm just hoping that Jan will make Magnus's life as difficult as possible, and very, very exciting match. So I hope it's not going to be a one-sided match, although Magnus now is in a great shape. Anyway, we are going to be back tomorrow in the Hou Yifan Chess Challenge at, what's it, 4 p.m., right? I believe
4 p.m. CEST.
Yeah, Central European summertime, and hope you liked it today. So with you today was Ellen, Frederica Nilssen, and me, Arturs Neiksans. We are also both fellow streamers. So if you have the opportunity, you can also follow our casual streams when we are doing that. But tomorrow we are back with more action from the Hou Yifan Chess Challenge at 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Hope you liked it, and I guess see you tomorrow.
If the rook goes to f7, then there is still
hours on g4. So after king to f6 and king to f2.
Tenemos el rey ahí en e8 un poco mal, no podemos enrocar corto.
Y también se puede hacer, por ejemplo, alfil g4.
Защиту. Но пока что они этого не делают, играют ферзь d2, рокировка, и теперь играют c4.
Thank you so much for the lessons.
Gracias por las clases.
Gracias por las clases.
Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play a champ. Play a Grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself.